Hey guys, welcome to Fanfic Fanatics. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku became Nightwatcher and fell for Lady Nagant movie. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are interested in MHA fanfictions. This story is Say Arrepentirán by Gaishinagro 301. Now without wasting any more time, let's dive in. As everyone knows, the world changed drastically with the appearance of quirks. Then both heroes and villains began to emerge. And being a hero is the dream of many young people, which is why hero academies were created with the purpose of teaching them what a hero should be like. UA Academy is the most prestigious hero academy in Japan, and some say in the world, and this is where our protagonist finds himself. UA Academy. The whole place was quiet and peaceful, too much for an academy like UA. A few seconds later, green rays were seen moving at high speed through the corridors. Iida. Don't let me escape, chasing him with his quirk. Kurisahima. Kaminari. Try shocking him. In a hurry, Kaminari. See. He threw a beam in the direction of the green rays, which he was able to dodge. Bakugo. Take this, you fucking traitor. He launched a large explosion in the direction of the green rays, but he dodged the explosion and the explosion hit a wall, destroying it. The green rays moved quickly towards the wall and he took a great leap to try to escape from the academy at high speed. The lightning stopped and it was revealed that the one running away was a green-haired boy with curly hair and freckles. Nara Izuku. Yes. You might be wondering, why am I running away? Or why did Kachin call me a traitor? Honestly, I'm just as confused as you are. So, how about we back up a bit? The narrator narrates, that is, me. Flashback 1 hour earlier. They were normal classes for all the students, until each teacher was called to the meeting room by orders of the principal to deal with an important matter. Not knowing that for a certain green-haired boy it would end up happening badly. Meeting room. Aizawa. Why did Director Nezu call us here? Tired. Nezu. I have very bad news for you, seriously surprising everyone with his behavior. Toshinori. Tell us, Director. How bad is the news to be so serious? Started to get serious like the other teachers. Nezu. 2 days ago I received a memory card that contained a video. I wanted to make sure it was edited or something, but there was nothing, so this is authentic. Namori. What thing, Director? I would be Nezu. See for yourself. Putting the video on a computer. In the video. Shigaraki. Hey, hello heroes. You already know my name, so no need to introduce myself. Smiling, you might be wondering why the video. Well, actually, I'm making this video to get rid of someone. Who is that someone? What if I showed it to you? Still smiling. After he finished saying that, a short video was shown in which Izuku talks to the League. In another video you can see Izuku giving Shigaraki some documents and some photos of where the camp where they attacked and kidnapped Bakugo was going to be. Shigaraki. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the traitor of UA. Izuku Midoriya. Smiling like crazy, leaving the teachers in shock, but the one who came out most affected was a blonde skeleton. That's right. He's already served his purpose for the League, so he's no longer useful to us. That's why we gave you this evidence. Without further ado, I'm off. Heroes. The video ended. The room remained silent until a blonde man with a sonorous voice spoke. Hazashi. Present Mike. No way. That kid taught us everything. Angry. Khan. Vlad King. It's a damn rat. He slammed his fist against the table. Nezu. Calm down. This silenced everyone present. Aizawa. What shall we do now, Director? Serious. Nezu. We must catch Midoriya and then ask him where the League is. Once we do, we will lock him up in Tartarus. And he refuses to tell us where the League is. So we will lock him up anyway. His hand, paw, touched a button that activated all the speakers in the academy. Attention. Izuku Midoriya, please go to the meeting room. The boy heard loud and clear, so he just obeyed and went to the meeting room even though he didn't understand why. Once he arrived at his destination he knocked on the door and received a "Come in" from the other side. Izuku. Director Nezu. What did you need me for? He had to dodge a punch from Vlad King B, but what, a little scared. Khan. Confess at once, damned traitor. Angry but was stopped by some bandages. Aizawa. Calm down, Khan. Izuku. Traitor. All Might. What are you talking about? I look at the blonde for an answer, but he only had a face of disappointment mixed with anger. Nezu. Izuku Midoriya, you are accused of treason, information theft and complicity. Showing him the video accusing him of being the traitor. The green-haired man went into a great shock at this revelation. His vision blurred a little until he heard footsteps approaching him, bringing him back to reality. I look to my left and I see All Might with a disappointed face. Toshinori. I thought I knew you well, young Midoriya, but I think I was wrong. I need you to give me back that, so I can give it to someone who deserves it. His disappointed face changed to a serious one as he extended his hand to the young man. Izuku. You want me to give you the OFA back, but I thought I earned it fairly. I thought I was doing pretty well. That I was doing a good job, and now this happens. He thought for a few seconds later to pull out a hair and give it to All Might 10. He watched as All Might put his hair in one of his pockets. I really don't want to give it to him. He thought as he got on his knees and held his chest tightly to keep from crying, failing in the attempt. Starting to cry a little silently. This is wrong. He whispered, but All Might heard him. Toshinori. I call the attention of the teachers and the principal. Izuku. Are you really going to believe a video that was sent by a villain? Whisper, and the whole room heard it. Everything is wrong. I didn't do any of that. He stood up and wiped his tears. Hizashi. Stop pretending you're the victim here, traitor. Nezu. Let's take a look at Midoriya. Izuku saw how the teachers began to approach him, so he decided to run out of the room before they caught him. Izuku. I really don't know if I gave All Might the OFA, but I don't care whether I have the OFA or not. I'm going to use what I have left to get out of here. He thought, activating the OFA, and started running at high speed. The teachers began chasing Izuku as the speakers turned on. Nezu. Attention all hero class students. Capture Izuku Midoriya, the UA traitor. This scared Izuku even more, since if being chased by the teachers wasn't enough, now he would have to flee from the first, second and third semester students of the hero course. Izuku. This is going from bad to worse. I won't be able to dodge an explosion. Bakugo. You're not going to leave here, damn Deku, or should I call you traitor? Uraraka. Deku. How could you do that to us? Starting to cry slightly while being comforted by Tsuyumina, while the other classmates had serious or angry faces. Iida. We trust you, Midoriya, and this is how you repay us. Izuku. Guys, it's not what it seems. Yo, Aizawa. There it is, barely arriving at the place with the other teachers. End of flashback. Nara Izuku, and that's what happened. The rest was just me running away from everyone throughout the UA until I finally escaped. Anyway, I know they'll catch up to me in a matter of time, so I have to find a place to hide. But first, I think I should say goodbye to my mom. So I went swinging through the buildings with the black whip plus over 20% heading in the direction of my home. The green-haired man, while on his way home, decided to destroy his cell phone to make sure he wouldn't be tracked. After a few minutes, he finally arrived home, where he rang the doorbell. A few seconds later, footsteps were heard approaching the door, and when it was time to open it, a short, green-haired, and loving woman appeared. This was Izuku's mother, Inko Midoriya. Inko. Izuku, what are you doing here? Don't you have classes at this time? Mirando and Izuku. Izuku. Mom, can I come in the house? I have something to tell you. A little serious, surprising his mother, but she only gave him the step to enter the house. Once inside the house, they both sat on the living room sofa. Inko. And what is it you want to tell me, Izuku? From the sound you had just now, it must be something very important. Is it about your grades? Concerned? Izuku. I'm afraid not, Mom. The truth is that I don't know what happened, but now everyone at UA thinks I'm some kind of traitor. This left his mother in shock. Inko. Traitor? Why do they think that about you? Concerned. Izuku. They showed me a video where supposedly I helped the League of Villains. Even though all of that is false, they believe that I really did all that, and now the heroes are coming for me. Inko. What are you going to do now? Izuku. I'm going to search for my innocence. For now I think I'm already classified as a fugitive or criminal for escaping from the heroes. I don't want to put you at risk, so I'll leave. I only came here to say goodbye. Inko. What? Say goodbye. You can stay here in Izuku. This would be the first place they would look for me, so I don't want to get you into trouble with the heroes. Inko. B. But it's very dangerous for you to be alone. A-. Starting to cry while Izuku just hugs her. Izuku. Mom, you always greeted me with a smile and that made me very happy, that's why I have to leave to protect you. Don't worry, I'll come back. Smiling calmly as he continued to hug his mother to calm her down. They are sitting on the couch and Izuku has his UA uniform. A few seconds of silence passed until Inko stopped crying and looked at Izuku. Inko. Okay, you can go. Promise me you'll be careful. Watching as Izuku approached the exit door. Izuku. I promise, smiling, and then leaving. The green-haired man left his home far enough away to be able to activate the OFA 20% so as not to run the risk of attracting too much attention when activating his quirk. The boy took a big leap and then activated Float plus OFA to reach the top of a building where the curious thing was that it was the same building where All Might revealed his wound. The green-haired man remembered the entire conversation he had with All Might, staring into space for a few seconds until he came back to his senses. Izuku. Okay, Izuku thinks, you can't stay with your mom to hide from the heroes. I don't know any abandoned place that could be called a lair. So I think my last one would be, he thought, the forest. Whisper. Izuku looked in a specific direction where the forest and mountains were. He was about to leave the building but couldn't because a fireball passed by him, causing him to turn around to find out who was responsible for the attack. Enji. You're a traitor. You have two opinions, you give yourself up the good way. Or the bad way. He lit his hands on fire as he finished speaking. Izuku. Sorry, Endeavor, but I won't go anywhere with you, he said with a serious face. Enji. Well, I wanted to do it the hard way anyway. I put both hands together for a few seconds and then throw a large flame of fire. The boy used Float plus Black Whip to dodge the attack and then used these quirks to get close enough to Endeavor, kicking him with the 20% OFA, pushing the fire hero away from the green-haired boy. The fire hero, angry with the boy, used his quirk on his legs and arms to propel himself towards Izuku to knock him down. The latter hurt him a little but not enough for him to get up with some difficulty. But while doing this, Endeavor kicked Izuku in the face, causing some blood to come out of his mouth. Enji. Wow, even though you're the UA traitor, you're pathetic at fighting. He walks slowly towards Izuku while he tries to recover. I don't understand how Shoto had a hard time with you at the festival, you're weak in. Izuku. Shut up. I whisper with some anger. Enji. What was th? Izuku. Die. Standing up completely while having OFA 20% activated. Be quiet. It went at high speed towards Endeavor, which surprised him. The boy gave a fake blow to trick Endeavor into changing position, which worked, but the green-haired boy, feeling the anger and adrenaline he had at that moment, the green rays began to get a little out of control. A few seconds later, the OFA's energy materialized in the form of an energy fist, hitting Endeavor directly in the face, sending him crashing into a sign and piercing him in the process. In case you didn't understand me with the OFA, basically Izuku did this with the OFA but with just his fist. This surprised even Izuku himself because he had never done that before with the OFA, but he put that aside for the moment to begin escaping in the direction of the forest so as not to be detected. A few hours later, the boy finally reached the forest where it began to rain a little. The boy took shelter under a tree and stared into space, remembering everything he had experienced in the last few hours. Afterwards, he closed his eyes, taking a short nap while the rain passed. Izuku slowly opened his eyes again but realized that he was no longer under the tree but rather a black space covered in black fog. Izuku. What's going on? Why can't I speak out loud? And where am I? He thought. Yoichi. You're inside the OFA. Izuku, Miro and Yoichi. Izuku. Inside the OFA? Does that mean you're one of the carriers? He thought. Yoichi. That's right, I am in fact the first wielder of the OFA. This comment surprised Izuku. Izuku. Seriously? And why am I here? He thought. Nana. Because we need to talk to you. Appearing in front of Izuku. Izuku. You are the teacher of All Might, Nana Shimura. He thought. Nana. That's right. Izuku. What do you want to talk about? He thought, confused. Daigoro. Starting to appear, we were coming to talk about that energy fist you made with the OFA and also to tell you that you didn't lose the OFA. Yoichi. That's true, you didn't lose the OFA. We know that you gave it to Toshinori, but also that you didn't really want to give it to him, that's why you still keep it. Izuku. I see, wait. Does All Might know about that? He thought doubtfully. Yoichi. No, he has no idea. Remember when he used all of the OFA's flame to defeat AFO? That also caused him to lose connection with the OFA. Izuku. Okay. I guess you also know through my memories that I was framed for treason. He thought as he lowered his gaze a little. Nana. Yes, I'm afraid so. I'm sorry that Toshinori won't trust you. Disappointed with All Might. Izuku. Don't worry, it's not your fault, thought Daigoro. Hey. Remember why we're here. We were supposed to tell him about that energy fist he made. Angry. Nana. It's true, I'm sorry. Midoriya, when you fought with Endeavor, you were able for a brief moment to materialize the energy of the OFA, turning it into a fist. Izuku. Yes, I know, and I really don't know how I did it, he thought. Nana. Yoichi has a theory about that. Looking at the first OFA carrier. Yoichi. All quirks are capable of evolving, right? I look at Izuku, who only nodded. Well, this for obvious reasons also applies to the OFA, but none of the previous carriers showed an evolution of this quirk like yours. Also, the quirk of Shimura and that of Daigoro that you awakened are more powerful than some of them had. This thanks to the OFA. I also think that you will be able to make these evolve. This surprised Izuku. Izuku. Wow. He thought Daigoro. Hey kid. What are you going to call this new ability of yours? Izuku. I hadn't really thought about it, but when creating that energy fist it felt like I had a second skin and I could be able to sense the percentage of the OFA despite not using it like I normally do, and he began to think about many things, making all the carriers present their sweat. Daigoro. I just asked you for the name. A little annoying, making Izuku come to his senses and just a little embarrassed of himself. Izuku. Yeah, sorry, maybe I'll call him OFA. Energy skin. I have a question for Shimura and Daigoro, he thought. Nana. What is your question? Izuku. I know I have their quirks now and all, but do you have any idea how they would evolve? He thought. Nana. Well, I think my floating quirk wouldn't change much if I evolved. Maybe it would just change from floating to flying, he answered. Daigoro. I don't have an exact idea about this, but maybe you could give the black whip any shape you want or something like that. For example, make it into a knife or a giant hammer. Izuku. I see. Anyway, I'm going to try to evolve his quirks and the OFA and then return to the city, he thought. Yoichi. We also know that you seek your innocence for your betrayal. I just want to remind you that you must stop my brother Mirando and Izuku. Izuku. Yes, I'll stop AFO, I promise. He thought determinedly, giving the first bearer a small smile. Everything was completely dark for the green-haired boy. A few seconds later, when he opened his eyes, he saw that he was in the same forest as before and that the rain had stopped, but it was already nighttime. Izuku. Evolve the OFA. I know that All Might doesn't have it, but that doesn't change the fact that by consuming my DNA he will receive an increase in strength. The real question for me now is, who will he give the OFA to? He thought. Meanwhile, Ua Academy. Toshinori. And that's why I want to give you this power, young Tagata. He said, giving him Izuku's hair. Mirio. Okay, All Might. I'll defeat AFO and bring the traitor to justice. Determined, he swallowed Izuku's hair. Returning to Izuku. Izuku. What does it matter? For now I just have to find a cave or make a makeshift shelter. He started walking to explore the forest and find a place to stay. A few minutes later, the boy was able to find a cave. He had his doubts about entering or not since there was a risk that a wild animal lived there. Even so, he decided to enter. Fortunately, there were no animals, so he began to make an improvised bed with leaves. Izuku. Well, the first thing I'm going to do tomorrow is perfect the OFA. Also to control the energy skin and evolve the quirks of the other carriers. It will be a long training, he thought, and then began to fall asleep. With the villains. Shigaraki. The plan went better than I thought. Heroes are really easier to fool. Smiling madly. Dabi. Don't even tell me. I thought they were smarter. Bored. Jin. Yeah, they're idiots. It's okay, we all make mistakes. Toga. Didn't they say that my Izuku would come with us to take revenge on the heroes? For their betrayal? A little bored playing with her knives. Dabi. Shut up. The next day. The green-haired boy had already woken up and left the cave to see the forest around him, and a few seconds later he gave a long sigh. Izuku. Well, time to train. The truth is this song gave me the idea to do this story and I thought it would be great to put it as a training montage for Broccoli laughing face. Izuku was lifting some heavy rocks with some difficulty. In the O. Class 1A was training their quirks, but we could see an explosive blonde who increased his explosions towards a wall made of cement. For a few seconds his mind thought about the green-haired boy which made him very angry and destroyed the wall with an explosion bigger than the previous ones. In the forest. Now Izuku found himself hitting a tree, with each hit his strength increased until he remembered all the betrayal of his friends towards him, making him very angry, hitting the tree to the point of leaving a large mark. Poor little tree, sad face. A few seconds later the tree fell to the ground and Izuku just looked at his hands which were somewhat scratched and red from hitting the tree. Change of scene. Izuku was walking through the forest until he saw a waterfall, so he sat on a nearby rock to clear his mind. Change of scene. Izuku was swinging the black whip at high speed throughout the forest and doing parkour. Think he's in the woods and he's wearing his UA uniform, a bit dirty. Change of scene. Izuku had the OFA activated, concentrating until little by little the OFA energy materialized in his two fists, making energy fists, making Izuku smile, and then he threw a punch in the air to see how a gust of air was created. Change of scene. Izuku concentrated his energy more to the point that it covered him completely, making a great Izuku of energy. Basically like that. Change of scene. Izuku is seen hunting some fish from the waterfall with his black whip and then cooking them a bit. In the AU, Mirio was training the OFA, while All Might advised him, and in a few seconds he thought of Izuku but only clenched his fists a little. In the forest, the green-haired man took out a bit of his black whip to try to give it a shape, spending a few minutes until the black whip turned into a black sword. The green-haired man put the sword to the test with a rock and was able to split it perfectly in two. Change of scene. Izuku was now using the float quirk to try to evolve it so he could fly. And this was one of the most difficult parts for him, since using the other quirks required more concentration and the floating quirk is more about moving. 3 months later, the green-haired man had repeated his training many times, improving his muscle mass a lot and reaching the point of controlling 45% of the OFA, in addition to evolving the black whip and float quirks. And in the last month he was able to awaken the other quirks of the carriers and they gave Izuku advice on how to use them correctly. End of music. With the villains. Shigaraki. Seriously, it's been 3 months and the heroes still haven't found Midoriya. Annoying. Dabi. Yeah, he's slippery. Jin. That's my friend. I don't even know him. Toga. Where's my Izuku? He puffed out his cheeks. Shigaraki. It doesn't matter now. For now we must go to the warehouse where that Chisaki will see us. In the AU, Aizawa. Still no sign of Midoriya or the league director tired. Nezu. It's a pity a little serious. Hazashi. And where is All Might? I see that he was not in the room. Nezu. He's just advising the young Tagata. Con All Might. Gamma Jim. Toshinori. Try again young Tagata, he ordered. Mirio. Yes, All Might determined. He concentrates and then throws a punch at a combat robot. Power smash. The punch hits the robot and destroys it into pieces and generates a small burst of air. Toshinori. A well-dressed young vessel, he congratulated the blonde. Mirio. Thanks All Might, he smiled. Back in the woods. A green-haired man can be seen meditating under the waterfall, until everything went black and he reappeared inside the OFA along with the 7 carriers. Izuku. Do you think I'm ready to go back? He thought. Yoichi. No need to ask, you're ready. I know you are. He smiled a little. Are you ready, kid? Daigoro. That question is stupid. Hikage. Just remember what you've learned and you'll be fine. Second and third. Nana. Good luck, Midoriya. Izuku. Thank you, he thought. Izuku opened his eyes again, returning to the real world where it had already gotten dark. Then he had a serious, determined look. Izuku. It's time to go back to the city, he thought. With this said, the boy used his black whip plus float with which he achieved great speed heading towards the city. 1 hour later, the boy arrived in the city and took refuge in an alley where he took off the dirty UA jacket he was wearing and put it in a trash can. The green-haired man was walking through the streets with his eyes lowered so that no one would recognize him until he stopped at a television store where the news was being broadcast. On television, in the news, reporter. It's been 3 months since UA traitor Izuku Midoriya escaped from the heroes and his whereabouts are unknown. If anyone sees a boy matching his description, please call the police or the heroes. Off TV, the boy just looked with a little annoyance, but decided to just keep walking until he passed by a civilian who had ignored him, but seconds later he noticed Izuku, and when he turned around the boy was already there, which confused the civilian, thinking that it was just his imagination, and then continued on his way. Izuku was on the roof of the TV store building. Izuku. I'm back. He whispered, then looked at his dirty clothes, what he had, but before I do anything else, I need new clothes. A little disgusted to see his dirty clothes. As the green-haired man finished saying that, he heard a suspicious sound in a nearby alley, so he decided to investigate. When he peeked out his head, he saw a couple being assaulted by 2 villains. Man. Please don't hurt us, we'll give you our money. Woman. Why yes. Please let us go, hey, begged villain 1. Okay, you can go. Cheering up the couple, but we want to have fun with her for a while. I look at the woman in a perverted way, scaring her. Man. Never. Standing in front of the woman to protect her. Villain 2. So you're playing the hero, huh? Well, in that case we'll want you first. He turned his arms into metal. Villain 1. Generating fire through his hands, smiling evilly. The villains attacked the man, who only used himself as a human shield to protect his partner from the blows, and in fear, he closed his eyes, just like the woman. A few seconds passed and nothing happened. The confused couple opened their eyes to see an Izuku covered in black whip, as if it were a costume, stopping both villains' attacks with energy fists. Izuku. OFA. Energy skin. 15%. He thought, still stopping the attacks of the villains. Villain 1. B. But what? WWH. He received a flying kick to the stomach, knocking the air out of him and sending him crashing into the wall, knocking him out. Villain 2. He broke free from Izuku's grip. You're going to regret that, idiot. He ran towards Izuku to hit him, but he dodged the blows very easily. Izuku. The danger sensor is very useful, he thought, still dodging the attacks. The boy just kept dodging until he saw a point to attack, which was the chin, so he hit him there, sending the villain into the air for a few seconds, and then he fell to the ground, out of combat. Izuku caught the villains with some black whip and then turned around to see the state of the couple. Izuku. Are you okay? Whisper. Man. Why yes, but who are you? Nervous about Izuku's appearance. Izuku. Just someone who wanted to help. He whispered, but he was heard anyway. Call the police. I'm leaving now, he whispered to go jumping with the OFA plus float. The boy moved at high speed throughout the city with his suit made of black whip in search of a shelter to spend the night and also become his new hiding place. Hours passed until he was able to find a cellar as a decent hiding place. The green-haired man stealthily entered the place in case someone was there, but all he could find were pools of blood and a part of the lower body lying on the floor. Izuku. What happened here? He thought in shock. He spent a few seconds in shock until he finally calmed down and began to investigate if there was anyone else inside. Luckily for him, there was no evidence that anyone had been there other than the blood and the corpse. Izuku. It seems like there's no one around. This place is fine, for now, he whispered to remove the black whip that covered him. The boy just went towards some boxes and lay down on them and then slowly fell asleep. The next day, on television, the news. Reporter. Last night a couple was assaulted by 2 villains, but fortunately nothing happened to them, since an individual appeared on the scene saving them. The apparition was described as a guy covered with black bandages around his body. They also assured that he had great strength and easily defeated the villains. Now the question, who is this new vigilante? A hero, a villain, and those who were watching the news turned off the television. Kurishihime. Wow, that guard sounds really manly. What do you think, Bakubro? Happy. Bakugo. Shut up. It seems he's just an idiot in disguise. Angry. Kaminari. Come on, don't exaggerate. Didn't you hear the news? He said he easily defeated villains and seems to have a super strength quirk or something. That means he's strong, right? Bakugo. Thanks Komo-si. Angry. With Izuku. The sun's rays had hit his face, waking the boy up and he gave a long yawn. Izuku. I really don't know if boxes are better as beds than forest leaves. He thought anyway, maybe I'll see Mom, I hope the heroes didn't do anything to her. He thought worriedly, beginning to close his fists. With this in mind the boy left the warehouse and with OFA 45% plus float plus black whip reaching at great speed only seeing a blur wherever he went. An hour passed until he finally arrived home again. Everything seemed the same as before, which made Izuku a little happy. He walked towards the main door of his home and knocked on the door waiting for someone to answer. After a few seconds of silence they passed and finally there was an answer where Izuku could see his mother again. After seeing each other for a few seconds, they remained silent and then began to hug while both shed a few tears. More Inko. Inko. Izuku, my baby is back still hugging Izuku. Izuku. That's right, Mom. Calmly hugging her with a few tears. 2 minutes later, mother and son finished their family reunion hug and both entered the house. Inko. Izuku, is that the same clothes from the last time I saw you? Scolding Izuku. Izuku. See calm down Mom, I swear if I wash it nervous and then calms down a beady missed you Mom smiling. Ink. Calmer me too, son. Smiling too. Izuku. I just wanted to know how you were and if you had any problems with the heroes. Quiet. Inko. S about that. A little nervous. Izuku. What happened? Worried. Inko. You were right when you said that the heroes might come for you if you hid here. They broke into the house searching everywhere and when they didn't find you they asked me where you were. I told them I didn't know. They left me alone but they seemed to have their doubts. A little nervous. She received a hug from Izuku, surprising her. Izuku. I'm glad you didn't get hurt. Still holding her. A little while later, mother and son agreed to meet every Sunday at the same time while the boy searched for his innocence, but before leaving, Izuku ate like a king by eating his glorious katsudon again. Izuku left his mother's home very stealthily, since it was starting to get dark, until he was completely far away. While walking quietly through the streets, he heard sounds in an alley, so he came closer, sticking his head out to see what was happening. Man. Don't hurt me. I already gave you all my money. Scared. Villain. Oh, really? Taking out a knife and putting it to the man's neck. The man was going to do something but a black whip appeared at the end of the alley surprising him and the villain, and the latter was captured by the black whip. The black whip quickly took the villain away. The only thing the man could do now was listen to the screams of pain from the villain until he stopped for a few seconds. With the villain, this one was out of combat and with Izuku's clothes on. Why? Well, Izuku exchanged his clothes with the villain's and vice versa since it seemed to fit the green-haired boy and he put on the mask that the villain had. This is the mask, change the lens color to green. The boy caught the villain with a black whip and jumped away at high speed, then returned to his new hiding place. Days later, the boy was going through Japan's underworld looking for clues or someone who knew where the League might be and forced them to admit his innocence. At the moment, it was night and Izuku was in an alley throwing Jiren against the wall and then using the black whip to trap him in the wall. Izuku. Okay, let's do this the easy way. Tell me everything you know about the League of Villains and I'll let you go. Serious. Jiren. Ha, do you think I'm really going to? He received a blow to the face. Izuku. You have until the count of 3. Cold 1. Crack your knuckles 2. I activate OFA. Energy skin 10% and 3. His fist was inches away from hitting Jiren's face. Jiren. Oh okay, I'll tell you. She closed her eyes in fear and a few seconds later she opened them again noticing that Izuku stopped. Izuku. Speak. Serious. Jiren. I only know that they're allying with some Yakuza. That's all I know. Please, let me go. A little nervous. Izuku. The black whip that had Jiren disappeared myself. Seriously pointing at the exit of the alley. Jiren ran away in fear towards the exit, and when he was about to leave, he received a blow to the back of the head from Izuku and fell unconscious to the floor. Izuku. Sigh, okay, I have a lead. Now I just have to find out information about those Yakuzas, he thought, and then left the alley. Izuku was patrolling the streets of the city until he heard screams and things breaking. Once he arrived at the place, he found a former UA teammate defeating a villain who was pulling blades out of his body. The person was Kirishima, who had his quirk activated to its maximum power. Izuku. It seems that he has taken charge of the situation. In that case I should retreat as soon as possible, and he whispered, and then saw a strange little syringe and grabbed it, noticing that there was a little bit of it left. What is this? He thought for a few seconds until a voice called him. Kirishima. Hey, who are you? Is this villain your friend? In fighting stance. Izuku. Kirishima. Hey, I'm talking to you. It's not manly not to answer someone. A little angry. Izuku. Sorry, I'm in a bit of a hurry. I whisper and then activate the smoke screen. Kirishima. But what? You're not going to escape. Running towards the smoke screen, and once he crossed it, the smoke dissipated, revealing that Izuku was no longer there. He escaped. Sigh, at least I beat the villain. I look at the villain out of combat, but who was that guy? His voice sounded familiar. Maybe it was just my imagination. With Izuku, he was moving at high speed with floating and then stopped on a rooftop. Izuku. Sigh, it was close. I take out the small syringe. What is this thing? He thought he'll have to go to the underworld again. He whispered and continued on his way. A few hours passed and the green-haired man arrived at a bar where both corrupt heroes and villains hung out, or also wanted to get information about whatever they needed. Bartender. What would you like, sir? Miro and Izuku. Izuku. Can you recognize this? I take out the small syringe, putting it on the drinks bar. Bartender. The only thing I know about these things is that they enhance quirks, and that the Yakuzas led by a villain named Overhaul are responsible for selling these things. Quiet. Izuku. I see, thanks for the information. He whispered, took the syringe again and then left the bar. So this belongs to the Yakuza. I think I'm getting closer and closer to them. I just have to investigate this Overhaul, he thought. The next day, Izuku was walking calmly through the streets disguised as a civilian so that no one would recognize him. Izuku. Well, I already know who's in Overhaul and what he looks like now. I just have to find him and then I'll be able to find the League. He thought until he felt someone crash into him. How strange, the hazard sensor didn't activate. He thought to look down and at the person responsible for the crash. She was a little girl with a horn, bandages on her arms and legs, wearing nothing but a hospital gown. Izuku. Oh, sorry, little one. He crouched down to the girl's height. You find yourself. He was suddenly hugged by the girl. Eri. Help me, please. He whispered in fear, surprising Izuku. Izuku. Why is he like this? Is he running away from someone? From whom? He thought. Footsteps began to be heard from the same alley where the girl had come from. Chisaki. Eri, where are you? I look at Izuku, who was being hugged by Eri. Oh, I'm sorry for the trouble my daughter brought you, kid. Izuku. It's Overhaul. The girl's name is Eri. The information I got from Overhaul didn't say anything about him having a daughter. He thought, looking at Chisaki, and then looked sideways at Eri. Don't worry, your daughter didn't give me any trouble. He acted calmly. Chisaki. I'm glad about that. Anyway, Eri, let's go. He ordered. Izuku. I just have a few questions. He continued to act calm. Why does your daughter have those bandages on her arms and legs? He changed his calm tone to a serious one. Chisaki. He gets hurt a lot when playing a little serious. Izuku. Why did he run away from you? What did he do to you? Starting to hug Eri protectively. Chisaki. I just scolded her and she ran away. You know, it's very difficult to raise children, especially what kind of people they will become. Seriously, starting to slowly take off one of his gloves. Izuku's danger sensor activated. He was about to dodge any attack that would come his way, but he couldn't do it because Eri, seeing Chisaki's intentions, went towards him. Chisaki. Are you done with your tantrum? Seriously, looking at Eri, who just limited her head to nodding. Izuku. I have to follow them. He thought until a voice called him. Hikage. I don't recommend it now, Midoriya. You shouldn't follow them, otherwise you would not only put yourself in danger but also the girl and the civilians around her. Also, you shouldn't reveal your quirks to the public when you go unnoticed. Izuku. Damn, he thought, clenching his fists tightly, watching as he slowly lost sight of Chisaki and Eri. The boy quickly put on his suit to stealthily follow Chisaki and Eri. A few minutes passed until he saw how they arrived at a residence. Izuku. I already found the Yakuzas. Hold on, Eri, I'm going to get you out of there. I'll come back tonight, he thought and then left the place. Hours later, 12 a.m., Izuku returned to the Yakuza's location. Izuku. Sigh, the League better stay there. Whisper, I'm going to get you out of there, Eri, he thought. The green-haired man activated the OFA 10% plus float plus black whip to move silently, entering the Yakuza property. When he did this, he slowly entered the house. At the moment of entering the house, the danger sensor was activated, so he moved his head to the right to dodge a bullet and saw that the person responsible was a Yakuza. Izuku quickly used the black whip to take the Yakuza's weapon away, and with the OFA 15% he hit him in the stomach, knocking out enough air to knock him out. After this he used a little black whip to capture the Yakuza. Obviously the sound of the fight was heard by the other Yakuza who were in the house, so when they arrived at the scene of the fight they only saw their unconscious and captured partner. The Yakuzas could do nothing more because a smokescreen appeared around them and the Yakuzas were captured one by one as if they were prey. By the time the smoke cleared, the green-haired man had already defeated and captured all the Yakuzas who were in the house. With this the boy began to investigate the entire house until he saw an elderly man on a stretcher. Outside of that he didn't find any clue about the League or where Eri was. This frustrated him so much that he hit a wall with the OFA 30%. What the green-haired man didn't expect when doing this was that he would end up discovering a secret passage that led to underground tunnels beneath the house. Izuku decided to enter the tunnels in search of Eri and the League, so he activated OFA 45% plus float plus black whip to move at high speed through the tunnels and defeated every Yakuza that crossed his path. He was like that for a while until he could hear something of interest to him, so he decided to remain silent and listen. Damn, how am I supposed to gain that brat's trust? Annoying, I just hope Chisaki gives me some kind of raise or something. He was wrapped in black whip from his legs until it reached his mouth. Izuku. Very well, Mr. Yakuza, you're going to tell me where Eri is. And I promise not to bury your head in the wall. He whispered threateningly and slowly removed the black whip from the Yakuza's mouth, and squeezing the Yakuza's neck a little hard. The girl is 3 hallways down to the right. Then just go straight and you'll get to where she is. I speak with difficulty because I am being suffocated. Izuku. This better be true. He whispered threateningly and completely enveloped the Yakuza in a cocoon shape where the only thing that could be heard from the Yakuza was struggles. The boy, following the Yakuza's instructions, arrived at Eri's room where he slowly opened the door. At the sound of the door, Eri woke up and was scared when she saw Izuku, thinking he was a new Yakuza or something like that until she felt the green-haired man hug her in the same way he did in their first meeting. Eri. This warmth, she thought in surprise. It's you, she whispered while still being hugged. Izuku. Yes Eri, I'm the person you met a few hours ago. My name is Izuku, he spoke reassuringly, beginning to stroke Eri's head. Well, it's time to get out of here, and Izuku's danger sensor was activated. Izuku acted quickly and carried Eri, then jumped away from an attack that happened seconds later, generating a cloud of dust. Chisaki. Well, what do we have here? Another unwelcome guest. Who are you? He spoke in a threatening manner, but Izuku was not intimidated. Izuku. I'm the last thing you'll see before you wake up in a hospital. Cold. Chisaki. I think you're just talking nonsense. Serious. Izuku. Oh. You want to test that theory? Activating the OFA 30%. Eri. Please don't fight. Why, it'll kill you. Starting to shed a few tears out of fear. Chisaki. You heard her. If you don't want to die, leave Eri and get lost. Serious. Izuku. You know if I get this far I won't turn back. Okay. Enough talking. I'll finish you off. Cold. The green-haired man put Eri on his back and secured her with a black whip so that she would stay there. He has Eri on his back the same way as in the anime, Just change Mirio's cape for a black whip if you didn't understand me. A second later Izuku used OFA 30% plus float to dodge a large path of spikes from Shisaki and then counterattacked from a distance with a Delaware Smash Air Force using his fingers. Shisaki only limited himself to covering himself with a stone wall from Izuku's attacks, until Izuku activated the OFA Energy Skin 45% on his arms to punch the wall, destroying it and sending Shisaki flying through some walls until he reached the center of the tunnels. The place where Mirio lost his quirk. Some of his subordinates approached him to see his condition, but he did not care and activated his quirk to fuse with them, obtaining a new form. Shisaki. Dame Ares. Angrily he launched himself at Izuku to attack him. Izuku. So you want to be bigger? How about we even things up? Angry, he activated the OFA Energy Skin 45% covering him completely, creating a giant Izuku of Energy OFA Energy Skin, Moto Titan. He thought. Izuku. Titan. Smash, he thought, giving Shisaki a punch that hit him full on. The boy continued to attack Shisaki consecutively. After those attacks, the green-haired man threw Shisaki towards the ceiling with great force. This caused the villain to end up going through the ceiling and staying in the air. Izuku deactivated OFA Energy Skin and followed Shisaki with OFA 45% plus float. Already in the air, Izuku reached Shisaki while being on top of him, and the villain could see for a few seconds how Izuku's eyes shone through his mask, to finally receive a final punch to the face but enhanced with the OFA Energy Skin 45% plus float plus gear shift. Just change your suit for the one I showed you earlier. With this attack Shisaki was knocked out, giving Izuku the victory. Izuku gently descended to the floor and began to take small breaths, because he used a lot of energy in such a short time. Izuku. Sigh, okay, I took care of Shisaki, now I have to go for the league, and he fell silent as he noticed that the lights in the nearest houses began to turn on. Shit. I'm an idiot, I didn't think about the possibility of waking up the people who live nearby. They'll probably call the police or the heroes for the racket now. He thought. Izuku quickly activated the OFA 45% plus FA Jin plus float to shoot out of the place at high speed. Already escaping from the place, he felt frustrated for not even knowing if the League was still at the Yakuza base or if they escaped. He would have continued to be frustrated if it weren't for the fact that he remembered what Eri was carrying with him, and now he began to worry about this. Izuku. Shit, what do I do with Eri? I can't leave her in an orphanage. Even if I don't know about her quirk, it must be very powerful and unstable for Shisaki to want her, so it's not a good idea to leave her there. Do I leave her with Mom? No, if I leave her with her, not only would I put her in danger, but Eri as well, since if the UA teachers went to interrogate my mom once, they might do it again. So the last option would be, he thought, then sighed and looked at Eri. Different getting the girl's attention. I'm going to drop you off somewhere safe. You can't stay with me. I'm so sorry. Eri. What? Why? Did I do something wrong? With small tears in her eyes she tried to leave. Izuku. No, you never did anything wrong. You're a good girl, but being with me would put you in danger, so I'll leave you with good people. It began to slow down until they landed slowly. Well, here we are, Eri. Welcome to your new home. He carefully lowered Eri from his back. The little albino stared at the building in front of her, but what stood out most to her were the large letters that said, 1A Alliance. Eri. Is this my new house? Confused. Izuku. Yes, there will be good people there who will take good care of you. Remembering for a few seconds the memories he had with his friends until they betrayed him and sighed at this last thing. Just don't tell them my name when they ask who brought you here, just call me Nightwatcher. I ring the bedroom doorbell. Take care, Eri. Activate OFA 45% plus float plus FA Jin to leave the place. Meanwhile, Aizawa was working on his computer until he heard the dorm doorbell ring. Aizawa. What the? Is it an intruder? But if so, why would he ring the bell? Whoever it is, I must be prepared. Activating his quirk and taking his bandages, Aizawa walked silently to the entrance doors only to see a small shadow, and when he opened the door he could see little Eri, who when she saw Aizawa with his quirk activated was silently scared. The erased hero deactivated his quirk and was slightly perplexed to see a little girl in the dorms. After all, he had questions in his head, like, Who is this girl? What is she doing here? Who left her here? Where are her parents? Aizawa. Girl, what are you doing here? He bent down to be at the same height as Eri but saw that the girl stepped back a little in fear. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, I promise. Extending his hand. The little albino, a little nervous, took Aizawa's hand while he smiled at her a little to calm her down. Aizawa. Can you tell me who brought you here? He said kindly. Eri. He brought me. He remembered Izuku's words that he won't reveal his name. You a guy named Nightwatcher. I think that was his name. Leaving Aizawa intrigued by this. Aizawa. Nightwatcher. I've never heard of him. Is he a new hero? Or a vigilante? It doesn't matter. Maybe I'll ask him later why he brought her here. He thought and began to inspect Eri's appearance, noticing the bandages on her arms and legs and her clothing as a patient gown. What happened to this girl? He thought. Back with Izuku. Izuku. I hope I did the right thing by leaving Eri with them, he thought and sighed. Nightwatcher. So that's my new name, huh? I have to say it was the first thing I thought of. He thought and then reached his hiding place. Well, I must rest. He went to lie down and slowly fell asleep. Days later, the news reported how Chisaki was defeated and how his base was destroyed. The heroes also knew nothing about what had happened, and the only witnesses who claimed to have seen the fight saw green rays moving at high speed, which led to suspicion for certain people. With Izuku, the green-haired man was walking through the streets in civilian clothes heading to his mother's house to visit her. Izuku. I hope mom is okay. I know it hasn't been that long since I saw her when I got back, but I still can't help but worry, and he thought until his danger sensor activated, causing him to look everywhere for a few seconds. Seconds later he saw Endeavor fly off and crash into a building. He also saw some kind of Nomu heading towards where the current, number 1, was. Izuku. This isn't good. Sorry mom, it'll take me a while to get to visit you. He thought to go to an alley and start changing. With Endeavor. Hood. Jaja Endeavor. Why you're so weak, you're not even on par with All Might. He spoke in a halting manner and could barely be understood as he watched an Endeavor trying to get up with great effort. Relax. You don't have to worry about being number 1 anymore. Because I'm going to kill you. Activate your quirk muscle gain plus power. Hood threw a punch towards Endeavor's face with the intention of killing him, but his attack was stopped by Izuku with his left hand, with his suit already on, who had activated the OFA. Energy skin 45%. Hood. EEH. A and UW. Izuku. Think fast, idiot. Izuku activated the OFA. Energy skin 45% in his right hand to punch Hood in the face, sending him flying. NG. W. Who are you? Barely getting up. Izuku. Soy. Nightwatcher. NG. Nightwatcher. I've never heard of him. He thought. Izuku. I'm here to help you, and if you don't want my help I can leave you here and that monster will come back to kill you. Serious. NG. Well, in that case I have no other choice. Activating his fire quirk forward. Both went towards Hood, who was barely recovering from Izuku's attack only to be seconds later receive a punch wrapped in fire from the fire hero, disorienting Hood. NG. Prominence burn, throwing a powerful flare in the direction of Hood. The attack hit him full on, but before he was completely destroyed he threw his own head to avoid death, and then began to regenerate at high speed. Hood was ready for the counterattack but was wrapped in a black whip from the green-haired man. Izuku. Black whip plus FA Jin. Reinforced capture combo. Black chains. He thought. The black whip took the form of chains. After doing this Izuku spun on his own axis to make Hood crash into some buildings. Izuku undid the black whip and then activated the OFA. Energy skin 45% in his hands where he gave a combo of blows to Hood's abdomen. Hood, fed up with the blows, stopped Izuku's attacks using his hands, activating his power quirks plus muscle increase plus transforming arms, and headbutted the protagonist, stunning him and also caused his mask to have a crack. Hood launched another attack but this time Endeavor intervened. Unfortunately for the fire hero this caused him to receive a large wound on his face. And to make matters worse, the fight was being broadcast nationwide, so they could see the state of envy. Izuku. Endeavor. Hood. Ha ha ha. Look at you. You're horrible. Don't worry about your face. Because soon there will be nothing left of you. He moved at high speed towards Endeavor. The green-haired man acted quickly and combined float plus alpha, 45% plus FA Jin to reach Hood and give him a powerful kick in the face. Izuku. Manchester. Smash. He thought now Endeavor finishes him off. He ordered. Endeavor didn't hesitate for a second and took advantage of Izuku's attack as a distraction and launched his most powerful attack towards Hood. Enji. Prominence burn. This time the attack hit Hood squarely and he was finally destroyed. Endeavor, due to his condition, began to fall from the heights. It seemed like he would die from the impact. But a black whip appeared at the last moment, saving the fire hero. Many of the civilians who had seen Izuku along with Endeavor fight Hood at all times and now saw how the boy saved the No. 1. The green-haired boy carefully lowered the hero to the ground and he got up from the ground with difficulty, raising his fist in a sign of victory where everyone began to celebrate. And without realizing it, the protagonist had gone from the shadows to his mother's house. A few hours later, the boy was knocking on the door of his house until he was greeted by his mother. Inko. Izuku. What are you doing here? She whispered in surprise. Izuku. Hello mom. He smiled slightly. Believe me, I've had a very complicated day. He held his head with some force, worrying his mother. Inko. What's wrong? Are you okay? Concerned. Izuku. Like I said before. A tough day. Sai, how about we go into the house? Absorbed. Both green-haired men entered the house where Izuku began to recount the things he has experienced in a short time. How he met Eri and how he saved her from Shisaki, how a few hours ago he helped Endeavor against Hood. Izuku. And well, how was your day? I watch as her mom begins to foam at the mouth and shake. Mother. Inko. Hearing this kind of information in such a short amount of time is starting to give me heart problems. After Inko calmed down, Izuku had a doubt in his head. Izuku. Mom, the heroes haven't asked you about me yet. Worried. Inko. And now that you mention it. Getting Izuku's attention, yesterday the heroes came again, although this time it was only your tutor, All Might, and a blonde boy with a peculiar face. Worrying Izuku more. Izuku. Mom, please. Tell me, what happened? Flashback. It was a normal day for Inko. She was finishing up the housework. She was ready to sit down, relax a little, and watch TV. Until just as she was about to turn on the TV, someone rang her doorbell. Inko. Who could it be? I didn't ask for anything. Maybe it's Mitsuki coming to visit, or maybe it's Izuku. She thought, confused. To clear her doubts, the green-haired girl opened the door where her confusion turned into discomfort, since in front of her stood the Eraser hero, the ex-hero number 1 and a blonde boy with a peculiar face. Inko. What can I help you with? Uncomfortable. Aizawa. Mrs. Midoriya, we are here to talk about your son. He spoke formally but retained his touch of tiredness. Inko. I told you before. I have no idea where it is and uncomfortable. Aizawa. Please, tell the truth, do you really not know where he is? I speak a little more seriously. Inko. Me starting to get nervous. Aizawa. If you don't say anything, all serious. Toshinori. Aizawa, how about you let young Tagata and I handle this? You seem to be starting to get on her nerves. Suggested. Aizawa. Okay. Let me know if you get results, I'll wait in the car. Slowly withdrew from the place. Toshinori. I'm really sorry on Aizawa's part for how he behaved towards you. He bowed in apology. May we come into your house? The green-haired girl thought about it for a moment and then gave the blondes the opportunity to go into her house where the three of them sat in the living room. Toshinori. Well, as you know, we're looking for your son to give us information about the whereabouts of the League of Villains and their plans to prevent a huge tragedy. I speak calmly. Mirio. That's right, Mrs. Midoriya. Please, we need to know where your son is. I speak with his characteristic smile. Ink. Sigh. I really don't know what to say. I'm very disappointed. Toshinori. I understand, it must be difficult to accept that your son. Inko. No, I'm disappointed in you guys. Surprising both blondes. I trusted you with my son. You promised me that you would take care of him even if it cost you your life, Did that promise mean nothing to you? Starting to shed small tears, why did he have to turn his back on him when no one else trusted him? The blondes no longer knew what to do or say, since seeing the green-haired girls state they would know that a bad choice of words could make the situation worse, so they just remained silent and limited themselves to looking at Inko's face, which was a mixture of sadness and anger. Inko, please be honest, All Might, did he lie about that? Toshinori, looking down, I'm sorry, Mrs. Midoriya, slowly closing his fists. I know what I did is not right, but there is evidence that young Midoriya contributed to the League and… Inko, did you ever think that evidence could be fake? Toshinori, believe me, they reviewed the video many times and found no evidence that the tests were fake. Still with his eyes lowered. Inko, who are you going to believe? A video sent by villains? Or the good things my son has done? At this the blonde just looked up in some surprise. Toshinori, I have to think about it. Anyway, thank you for your time, Mrs. Midoriya, we will leave. He bowed and Mirio just copied him. Mirio, thank you for your attention, Mrs. Midoriya. Have a nice day, waving goodbye with your arm. So both blondes left the green-haired girl's apartment and headed towards the car where the eraser hero was. Aizawa, so, did you get any information? Tired. Toshinori, not exactly, but it made me think a little. End of flashback. Inko, after they left my day continued normally. Izuku, do you think they'll come to their senses? Inko, I'm not sure, but I gave All Might something to think about. Izuku, well, if that's true, you'd better come to your senses. Inko, I know. After this conversation, mother and son began to live together as if it were the most normal thing in the world until nightfall and the green-haired boy had to leave his home and return to his hiding place. Izuku, I still have no idea where to find the League, and the only place I could find them I didn't even see a trace of them. He thought as he lay down on one of the boxes. And now I have no clue. A thought to put his hands on his face to hide his frustration. But, shit, whisper. The next day, the sun entered through one of the windows of Izuku's hiding place, hitting him in the face and waking him up. Izuku. A new day, he spoke, barely getting up and stretching. Well, I have to find the League or someone who knows where they are. He thought about putting on his civilian clothes. The boy left his hiding place and headed towards the city, thinking of multiple ways to track or find the League until he saw all his former UA teammates in civilian clothes. Izuku. Oh shit, this is bad. Even though I'm in disguise, I'm sure they'll recognize me. Well, maybe not Mineta and Kaminari, but the rest will. What do I do? What do I do? Run. Look away, he thought. Kaminari. And that's why you shouldn't mix Thunder Pops with soda. D smiling without realizing that the class was looking at him strangely. Iida. Remember, even though we're outside the academy, we must behave and be careful that the League and the traitor aren't here. Moving his arms. Izuku only limited himself to putting on a cap and lowering his gaze to go unnoticed, but this seemed suspicious to an explosive blonde, so the boy went in the direction where the green-haired boy was, who was able to notice Bakugo's presence thanks to the danger sensor. Bakugo was about to grab the protagonist's shoulder and he was ready to attack if necessary until a redhead interrupted the moment. Kurishihime. Bakubro, what are you doing? Confused. Bakugo. He turns around to see Kirishima. Shut up. I was just going to question. When he turned around he noticed the boy was no longer there and he clicked his tongue. Forget it. Angry. Izuku had hidden in an alley and breathed a sigh of relief. Izuku. That was very close, I must be more careful when I go out, thought. After this he continued his way down the same alley until he came out on another side. Izuku. Now I must find the League, he thought while walking. Days later, the broadcast of the Endeavor fight of how he defeated Hood with Izuku's help went very viral in the country, but the most important thing is that it caught the attention of the director of the UA Academy and the former symbol of peace and now his new disciple who finished watching the recorded broadcast. Nezu. And what do you think about Nightwatcher, All Might? Turning to look at the blonde because the quirks he showed in his fight are clear proof that he's Midoriya. Mirio. Wait, Principal. If that's really Midoriya and he's using those quirks, that means… Toshinori. That means young Tagata doesn't have the OFA. Finishing the blonde's sentence, in that case we must make public the identity of young Midoriya so that the heroes are attentive to him and Nezu. No, I have a better idea. Besides, if we made it public, the heroes could focus more on Midoriya than on the villains, letting them do whatever they want or something like that, he explained. Toshinori. I understand, then. What's your idea? With doubt. Tartar's prison. Deep in the highest security prison in Japan, in one of the cells, a two-toned woman sat on her bed with nothing to do but wait for the day she would get out or die. She remained like that until a guard knocked on her door. Guard. Hey villain, you have visitors. With this, he entered the woman's cell and placed anti-quirk handcuffs on her. When he finished doing this, he left the cell, but a blonde skeleton and the director of the UA entered the cell. Nezu. Greetings Miss Tsutsumi. It's been a long time since I saw you. I speak with his usual attitude. Kana. Director Nezu. What do you want? I speak without interest. Nezu. Well, I'll get to the point. We're asking for your help in capturing someone. Kana. My help. And what would I gain? I don't in. Nezu. She'll be released on parole, and her sentence will be significantly reduced, so she'll be released much sooner than planned. She won't be working as a heroine for crimes again, she'll just be a civilian. He explained. The woman, a little annoyed at being used for the last time, sighed and decided to analyze the conditions. Although she hated corrupt society, she just wanted to get away from it all. There were a few seconds of silence until the woman looked seriously at Director Nezu to give her answer. Kana. Well, who is the target? He would be. Nezu. I'm glad you accepted, and regarding your question, taking out a picture of Izuku from his pocket, this is the target. His name is Izuku Midoriya. He is wanted for treason, information theft and complicity. He is currently taking the identity of a vigilante called Nightwatcher, showing another picture of Izuku in his vigilante outfit. Kana. Really? A kid did all that? I speak a little confused. Nezu. That's right, he would be very surprised by what today's quirks do, and because of his quirk he is very elusive, since he escaped a few months ago and his whereabouts are unknown. The only thing we know about him is that he makes an appearance at night. Price. Entendido. Nezu. Just a few more things before I release her. Capture Midoriya alive. She will have a shackle that will give her location at all times, and if she tries to flee the city, an alert will be activated warning both heroes and police to capture her. If she tries to take it off, the shackle will give her an electric shock to stun her. Do you still agree to capture Midoriya despite the conditions? I speak in a somewhat serious way. Kana. I know the risks. I accept. I'm serious. Nezu. I'm glad to know that. A few moments later, with everything agreed, Director Nezu requested the release of the ex-heroine. Now the three left the prison and went on their way to the UA so that Lady Nagant could receive a new suit and the necessary equipment to capture Izuku. The next day, it was nighttime and Izuku was swinging the black whip around the city at high speed in his vigilante outfit. Izuku. Okay, where should I look for the League? Interrogating underworld criminals. Yeah, I think it might work, he thought. Just as he said, he went to the deepest places of the underworld where he entered different bars in search of information, but the only important information he got was that the League was allied with another group of villains. To his bad luck, he did not know the name of this group of villains. When he finished interrogating, he decided to patrol the entire city in search of villains until he stopped at the top of a building, this being noticed by the other OFA carriers. Nana. Pass the algo. Izuku. Confused. Daigoro. Hey kid, why are you stopping? Just as confused. Izuku. Something's not right. Serious whisper. The boy and the carriers remained silent until suddenly Izuku's danger sensor activated. Izuku had barely managed to dodge the attack and turned around to see the cause of the attack. Kana. Izuku Midoriya, I've been ordered to capture you alive. Now surrender if you don't want to lose a limb. I'm serious. Izuku. Lady Nagant. How is she out of prison? Did she escape? No. If that were the case, the news would have gone crazy knowing that a villain escaped from the highest security prison, and they should warn everyone about it. However, there is none regarding this, so someone must have freed her. Someone from the League. The heroes. I don't know. I'm going to interrogate her when this is over. He thought. Lady Nagant. I'm afraid I can't do that. I have other things to do, but since you're standing in my way, activating the off I'll have to fight. Serious. Izuku activated his black whip to try to catch Lady Nagant, but she easily dodged the attack and then took large steps in the air to a taller building, this being seen by Izuku. Izuku. How does she do that? She has more than one quirk. No, it's not that. If someone who isn't a criminal really got her out of prison, it would be impossible for her to have an extra quirk. She must be using technology or something like that. Anyway, that won't do any good, he thought. The boy had to dodge more than one bullet almost at the same time, having to move at great speed to dodge them all. Kana. He was very quick to dodge my bullets, he thought. Izuku activated his smoke screen to hide and confuse Lady Nagant in the process. Once inside the smoke screen, he began to spin in circles at high speed, creating a small smoke tornado. With the tornado already made, he had enough time to activate the FA Jin and shoot out towards where the ex-heroine was. He activated the OFA energy skin in his hands, prepared for his counterattack, but Lady Nagant managed to dodge Izuku's attack by millimeters. Izuku. Listen, it was all a misunderstanding. He had to dodge another bullet. Kana. I know people like you, begging for mercy so the enemy will lower their guard. You're not going to fool me. Shooting with more power. Izuku. I've heard about you in the underworld. Jump from side to side to dodge bullets. Kana. Yeah, what? This is what I am. Everyone lives in a damn bubble. Shoot, the society of heroes is very fragile. Their fight was starting to make a lot of noise around them, so Izuku, to avoid more problems and not involve civilians as well as the heroes, used his black whip plus float to go to a safer place. Izuku landed on a building and watched as Lady Nagant followed him, running through the air and using her rockets to get closer to the green-haired boy. Izuku. Please listen to me. I was framed. Didn't you go through the same thing? Price. The woman stopped for a few seconds to listen to what the boy had to say. Izuku. Listen, I was framed, and thanks to the underworld I heard that the Public Safety Commission assigned you dirty jobs. In the end they turned their backs on you just for following orders. They turned their backs on me simply because of an edited video. I admit that today's society can be very fragile as well as corrupt, but despite all that, Kana. I understand now. Susurando. Izuku. What did you say? Kana. This is all part of your lie. He takes a small bracelet out of his pocket and puts it on his right wrist, which extends throughout his arm, fusing it with his rifle, making it bigger and stronger. And I was very stupid to listen to you. Shot. If you're wondering what Lady Nagant's rifle looks like now, it looks the same as when she shoots Chisaki, only it looks more technological or something like that. The shot barely. Izuku could move his head to dodge the bullet, which could have given a small scratch to the green-haired man's mask, but what neither of the two realized is that the bullet went in the direction of a nearby road, and a vehicle where there was a family of 3 on board that was passing nearby was victim of the bullet, hitting one of the tires, causing the driver to lose control and crash into the guardrail. The guardrail is the metal that the roads have, according to Google. Nana. Izuku, there's a problem. Izuku. What's wrong? He thought. Nana. There's a vehicle that's about to fall. Pointing to where the vehicle is located. Izuku. Looking in the indicated direction. I've already seen it. I have to go fast. The boy without thinking began to activate FA Jin plus Black Whip plus Alpha plus Float. Lady Nagant believed that he would escape again, so she shot again, but this time Izuku dodged it easily. Kana. What? Where are you going? He thought. The woman looked in the direction the boy was heading. The vehicle fell off the road, but Izuku arrived in time, catching the vehicle using his black whip, transforming them into chains to reinforce the grip. Then he used float to carefully rise along with the vehicle, leaving it gently back on the road where it was, and all of this had been recorded by people passing by the place. Izuku, after making sure that everything was okay, went to some nearby buildings to use a black whip in the form of a slingshot plus FA Jin to propel himself towards where Lady Nagant was, which he realized too late when the boy kicked him in his rifle, destroying the improvement that it had. The great gust of wind that Izuku's attack generated made the woman surprised. Kana. He went to rescue those people without hesitation. Amazing, she thought, and began to fall from a great height, but was caught by the left arm by Izuku's black whip that was floating. The boy reached the top of a building where he gently placed Lady Nagant on the floor. Then the green-haired boy stopped floating to also touch the floor and slowly approached the ex-heroine. Izuku. You know, if you really wanted to capture me, you would know perfectly well that you shouldn't have revealed yourself to me after the first shot. You could also take the opportunity to shoot me in the back while I was going to help those people, but you didn't. Knowing how corrupt society is, you know what parts need to change. That's why I know that despite everything, you still have the heart of a hero. Lady Nagant, looking determinedly at the woman, surprising her more. Kana. Wow, he thought while smiling slightly. How heroic. He thought, widening his smile. Izuku Midoriya. He approaches the boy and begins to lightly caress his head. You are a true hero. Smile. Will continue. You know, I was thinking about something while writing the last chapter and this chapter. And if I make this story have Izuku and Lady Nagant as ships? And, no, because, you decide. I hope you like the chapter. There were a few seconds of silence after the woman finished speaking, and she only dedicated herself to caressing the boy's head. Both of their minds had gone blank until the green-haired man was the first to react. Izuku. Huh, why are you petting my head? Confused. Kana. What's wrong? Is the traitor embarrassed to be petted? I speak with a little joking tone. Izuku. What? And no, and that's not it. She has a slight blush. Kana. You're not fooling anyone with that blush. I speak with a neutral face. Izuku. I'm telling you it's not that. A little annoyed, he calms down and sighs. It's just that the only person who has ever shown me that kind of affection has been my mother, I whisper, slightly looking away. The woman was surprised to learn this, and her body moved involuntarily, giving the boy a hug, surprising him. Izuku. Hey. What are you? Kana. Shish, still stroking his head. Izuku. Please, can you tell me why you're doing this? Slightly blushed. Kana. I thought you needed it. After a few minutes they both separated and the boy looked away, embarrassed, trying to calm his blush. Izuku. I appreciate your gesture, but I have some questions for you. I speak with a serious tone. Kana. What? You want to know if I have a boyfriend? Just kidding. Izuku. Of course not. I wanted to know who sent you for me, returning to his serious tone. Kana. So that was it. Not very interested. Well, it was Director Nezu. He took me out of Tartarus to capture you and take you with him. I also have a shackle on my right ankle that serves as a locator at all times, and if I try to remove it I will suffer an electric shock. I explain. Izuku. Principal Nezu. Does he know I'm a Nightwatcher? Shit, I was careless. It must have been because I helped Endeavor defeat that Nomu, covering his face in frustration and sighing. Okay, thanks for the info. Is there anything else? Kana. No, that's all. Izuku. Well, thanks for the information. I don't mean to be rude, but you better get out of here. Price. I look at the green-haired man with doubt. Izuku. If you have a tracker and they see your location at all times, they'll start to get suspicious if you stay in one place too long or move too fast, clarifying the doubt. Kana. Yes, it's true. Izuku. Hey, do you think we can meet again in another location? Kana. Wow, you're asking me out already, feigning surprise. Izuku. What? She blushes a little and no. That, I think. I whisper the last thing. Daigoro. The child is growing, smiles proudly. Nana. Daigoro. She's all yours, kid, give me a thumbs up. Izuku. Shut up. Days later, Izuku was now at his mother's house finishing recounting the events of his fight with the ex-heroine. Izuku. And I think some people recorded how I saved that family, and I think that's all. Inko. Wow, so that lady was framed like you. Izuku. Yes. Inko. And she's beautiful. He smiled mischievously. Izuku. What? Blushing. Inko. Come on son, you're growing up, so don't act innocent. It's okay to like girls even if they're older than you. I speak with a calm smile as if what I was saying was the most normal thing in the world. Izuku. Mom, what are you saying? I don't have time for that stuff, you know. Slightly blushed. Besides, I don't think he'd notice someone like me. Inko. Why do you care about that? Do you even like it? Smile. Izuku. And no. What I was trying to say is that she covers her face in shame, the age difference and all that. Inko. In love, age is just numbers, son. Calm down. Daigoro. You see, kid. You even have your mother's support. I really wish I had a girl like her, but we only have Nana here. Smile. Nana. She smiles calmly but the veins on her face stand out. You better run. Daigoro. Oh peace. Meanwhile, at Ua, the ex-heroine was in the director's office waiting for the aforementioned, calmly looking out the windows until the memories of how she hugged and caressed Izuku suddenly came to her head, causing a slight, almost undetectable blush. Kana. Why did I do that? And why was I joking with him like that? I'm not like that, so. Why was it different talking to him? His hair. It was so soft. What am I thinking? Hear some footsteps. Nezu. Well, Miss Tsutsumi, how did the search for Midoriya go? Price. Still staring at the window disinterestedly. So far nothing. You were right. Director Nezu is good at escaping. Nezu. I see, it's a shame. Even though, a few days ago a recording was published of Midoriya saving some civilians from an accident, in the area you patrol at that time. Smile. Could you explain to me what happened? Price. Sighs. In defeat I confronted him, and during the fight, one of my bullets hit the car of the civilians in the video, and the video shows what happened next, he explained. Nezu. So through your carelessness, innocent people almost got hurt or killed. Smile. No one besides All Might and Tartarus knows that you're free. If they find out you'll be in a lot of trouble, you know. Kana. Nobody told you that you're going to break me out of prison in the first place to catch a traitor. Nezu. Mind your words, young lady, seriously. Back to the broccoli. Inko. And how are you going with searching for your innocence? Izuku. Terrible, I haven't been able to find the League and every time I get close to finding them I lose them again. It's very frustrating. Inko. I'm so sorry to hear that, son. I'm sure you can. Talk. All Might. Hello, Mrs. Midoriya, are you home? Izuku. Ease. All Might. Whispers. Inko. What do we do? She whispers nervously. Izuku. Mom, calm down, just breathe. I'll hide in my room while All Might is with you. Whisper. Inko. Oh okay. Whisper. All Might. Hello, it's. The door opens revealing Inko. Oh. Hello Mrs. Midoriya, for a moment I thought you weren't here. Inko. All Might, what can I do for you? A little uncomfortable. All Might. I reconsidered his words and really, Bose, I apologize for not believing and standing up for your son when he needed it most. Both Inko and Izuku, who was listening to the entire conversation from his room, were surprised by the former symbol of peace's apology. All Might. And to correct my mistake, I decided to do some more research into the evidence to find some contradictions. Inko. Were you able to find anything? All Might. Check the dates of the recordings of young Midoriya where he collaborates with the League and then look for those same dates in the recordings of the dorms in the UA, and at no time had he left the facilities or anything, he explained. Inko. So that means, All Might, there's more opportunity to prove your son's innocence, but those videos alone won't be enough. I'll need more evidence if I want to definitively prove young Midoriya's innocence. Inko. I see. Well, thank you very much, All Might. Izuku no longer wanted to hide, so he slowly left his room to see his former teacher. Izuku. All Might. Mira and Izuku. J. Young Midoriya. When was it that? Izuku. I've been here since before. I'm still a little upset about his betrayal, but I heard you talking about how you're working on finding my innocence. And I appreciate that, thanks. Just do me a few favors. All Might. What do you need, young Midoriya? I'll do whatever it takes to earn your forgiveness. Izuku. One, look for enough evidence on your part to prove my innocence. I will do the same. 2, don't tell anyone you saw me here. I don't want my mom to get more involved than she already is. All Might. I understand, I promise. Izuku. I guess you already know I still have the OFA with me. Inko. Offa. Izuku. Me and my big mouth. He hit himself on the forehead with the palm of his hand. A little explanation about the OFA and AFO afterwards. Inko. And that's why you have so many quirks. Concerned, and that villain is after you. Just because you have that quirk. Izuku. Yes, maybe that's why the League created those tests to blame me and stop me from being their problem to become the hero's problem, and unfortunately it worked. All Might. Yes, unfortunately. Izuku. And how is Eri? All Might. Wait, how come? Izuku. I think he also already knows that I'm the Nightwatcher vigilante, so I'll tell him. I saved Eri from Shisaki and left her at Ua thinking it would be a safe place. All Might. I see. Regarding your question, she's fine, she's just very shy and sometimes she mentions that she misses Nightwatcher since he saved her because he was her hero. Izuku. Smile a little at this, hero. That's good to know. Do you know anything about Lady Nagant? Inko. Are you referring to the young lady you told me so much about and who you think is pretty? He said, blushing a little at the broccoli. Izuku. I never said she was cute. Inko. So it isn't. Izuku. Remembering carefully the sniper's face and how she smiled at him, with this memory he only blushed more. Well. All Might. What kind of conversation is this? With a big drop of sweat running down his head, what exactly are they talking about? Izuku. Inko. I want to know if she could help me find the League if she wants to be my son's girlfriend. Izuku. What? Blushing. A little while later, when Inko stopped joking and teasing her son, they continued Izuku's conversation. All Might. Why do you want Lady Nagant to help you find the League? Izuku. She told me that she has a tracker that gives her signal in real time at all times, and if that's true, if she managed to find the League and is Lady Nagant, she will be with me. All Might. We can catch the League. Izuku. Exactly. All Might. Well, I'll see what I can do about that. I'll report it to Lady Nagant. Izuku. Okay, thanks. And so after that conversation, the blonde skeleton left the apartment, leaving the green-haired men alone. Izuku. Well, I think it's time for me to go too. Ink. A little sad you have to. Izuku. You know it perfectly well. Inko. Okay, good luck son and good luck winning that girl. He raised his thumb happily. Izuku. Slightly blushed mom. Inko. Take care, son. Izuku. I will. He quietly leaves the house. A little while later Izuku had arrived at his hiding place where he took out a blackboard where they had photos of the League, of the places they were with whom they interacted. Izuku. Okay, now with All Might and possibly Lady Nagant, I'll be able to expand my search. Meanwhile elsewhere, Shigaraki. Okay, now with the superpowered Liberation Army on our side we will destroy everyone who crosses our path. Smile. Dabi. You're not worried about the kid or the heroes finding us? Shigaraki. No, they're too busy with the brat that they're forgetting about us, and when they least expect it he takes a glass that deteriorates after a few seconds and crushes it with his hand. He'll be dead. Dabi. Yes, I understand. By the way, you should go see the doctor now. Shigaraki. I know, I'll leave it in your care. Dabi. Are you serious? Shigaraki. Just look at the others. Like. Looking at Twice, who was crying towards an altar of Toga, and Toga uncomfortable seeing that you have a valid point. Then Shigaraki went in search of the doctor, leaving Dabi, Toga and Twice alone. Then Toga and Dabi left, leaving the cloning villain alone crying in a comical way, still looking at Toga's altar until someone approached. Hawks. Calm down, friend, the girl is fine. Twice. Ah, that's right, Toga is fine, she doesn't need this. Kick the altar. Oh no. I didn't mean to do that. Hawks. And tell me what you count. Smile. Twice. Not much, just that Shigaraki was talking to Dabi about how the heroes will be so busy with the broccoli boy because they think he's a traitor that they're forgetting about us. What do you care, you fucking bird? Hawks. I see, you're right about that. You're so busy catching that kid that you've forgotten about yourselves. Smile. Do you think that means, well, I have to go now. I just came to chat with my friend for a while. Twice. Friend. We're friends. I have a friend. I'm going to tell Toga. We're not friends. I hate you. He runs away from the place. Hawks. So the kid was framed. That's new. Well, I'd better go tell this to the Public Safety Commission. No, even if I tell them they won't listen. I don't like where this is going. I can feel something big coming. Back to the broccoli. Daigoro. Kid, you've been staring at that blackboard for 3 hours. Do you have a plan? Izuku. Of course not, looking at the blackboard. Daigoro. And why don't you find the girl who drives you so crazy to help you? Izuku. Slightly blushed. Just shut up, I'll go find her, but just to confirm if All Might has already informed her about the news. Daigoro. And then you'll take her to bed. Izuku. Nana, can you hit Daigoro? Nana. I'm afraid not, Izuku. I understand that he is special, but still he is. Daigoro. I really wish I had a great woman like that sniper, and just imagining it Nana. It will be a pleasure to help you, Izuku. Smile calmly. Daigoro. Not again. Izuku left his hiding place and went swinging throughout the city with his black whip in search of the sniper. Hours passed until it became midnight and he stopped at the top of the same building where he knew the girl. Izuku. Who would have thought that searching for her would be so difficult? Kana. Looking for who? I speak with a small flirtatious tone a few inches from the green-haired boy's ear. Izuku. He quickly turns to where the sniper is to realize that her faces were too surprising, causing her to fall. How is that? The hazard sensor didn't detect any hazard. Is that possible? Blushing. Kana. Ha ha ha, you should have seen your face. Smile a little, you're as red as a tomato. How cute. She blushes slightly at the thought. Izuku. Sai, All Might have already told you about joining. Kana. Yes, I know. The truth is I wasn't very convinced about doing it. Even though you're a true hero, for me it doesn't mean that society doesn't suck. Izuku. Maybe you're right about that, but in this generation society is bad. I bet that in the next one it can improve, but if we really want it to change now we will have to make an effort. Kana. Calm down, you don't have to make a long speech, I'll help you. Izuku. Thank you, Kana. I'm going to tease him a little, he's cute when he's upset. Smile, but if you're really determined to help me prove your innocence and all that, you have to do something first. Izuku. What? Kana. Give me a kiss. Izuku. Blushing. Qui. He covers his mouth to keep quiet. Why, you're not serious? Price. I would be. No, he was very serious. Izuku. It must be a joke, if that's all it has to be. Daigoro. Don't waste this moment. Izuku. You won't help me. Daigoro. If you want help, I'll give you a ride. Izuku. Wait, what are you? Price. Smile, ha ha ha. Calm down, it was just a joke. A pair of black whips took the sniper by the shoulders and lowered her to where Izuku was, surprising both of them since they had now kissed. Daigoro. You're welcome, kid, enjoy it. Give me a thumbs up. Nana. Aren't you ashamed? Daigoro. Why do you say that? Nana. Just look at Izuku as he is. Izuku. Tomato. Maybe I. Kana. Maybe he. Izuku. Kana. The fuck? Me kiss. Blushing. A couple of seconds passed until the black throbbing went away and they both separated, remaining silent out of embarrassment. Izuku. Daigoro, what did you make me do? Daigoro. I told you, I gave you a ride. Izuku. I swear I'll enter the AFA and all. Kana. I didn't think you were going to do it. Look away. Izuku. Me neither. Blushing. Kana. Huh, why do you say that? Turns to look at Izuku. Izuku. I didn't think about it, it just happened. Kana. Of course. A few minutes passed where both remained silent in an awkward silence until they spoke again, but they still couldn't help but look at each other. Izuku. Clears his throat to get attention. Anyway, we must find and interrogate any possible criminal who gives us a clue about the League of Villains. Kana. And you think that will work? Izuku. Do you have a better idea? Kana. No, not really. Meanwhile, not far from there, the winged hero was on patrol, but in reality he was just thinking. Hawks. Who did you inform about all the League information? Endeavor. The Commission. Either way, they'll think it's just a distraction or a lie to divert them from the search. The winged hero continued flying until he heard voices in the distance, so he crept closer to listen to the conversation. Kana. Do you think your plan will work? Hawks. Plan. Wait, woman is it Lady Nagant? And that's Izuku Midoriya. What are they doing together? Midoriya helped her escape from Tartarus. Could it be that Twice lied to me? Calm down and think. There is nothing announced about a criminal escaping from the best prison, so how is she free? Even Midoriya would have no reason to release her, or I don't see him having reasons to release her. I better just listen to what they say to clear my mind. Izuku. I'll be honest, probably not, but it's what we have. I really can't wait to find the League and... The black whips start to get a little out of control until Izuku just sighs, calming down, and the black whips stop. I just wish my friends believed in me and my actions more than a stupid video sent by villains. Price caresses her head. At least you had friends. He looks at the city in a melancholic way. I didn't have any friends. I just did the dirty work I was assigned, and I rarely had time to chat with anyone other than the president. Izuku. I'm sorry about that. Kana. Don't apologize, that's over. If I'm lucky, the warden said they'd lower my sentence enough to get me out of prison and just be a civilian, no longer a hero. I just want to get away from all this. Izuku. Wait, Principal Nezu promised to reduce your sentence. Kana. Yes, that was the agreement to capture you. You're lucky that I see you as a true hero, otherwise you would have already been captured. Smile a little. The atmosphere changed quickly when the two fugitives began to feel the presence of someone watching them, until they saw the two-winged hero. Before the feathered hero could attack or do anything, the green-haired man used gear shift to hit him behind the neck and he was knocked out. A little while later, the feathered hero began to wake up little by little, but he still felt the pain of the blow. His vision was blurred and he heard distorted voices until he saw and heard normally again, when he felt his body was trapped in a black whip that came out of Izuku's left hand. Izuku. With the mask, how much did you see or hear? Hawks. I don't know what you're talking about. Izuku. He pulled out a black whip from his right arm, manifested it in the form of a scythe and placed it near Hawk's neck. Answer. He brings the scythe closer to his neck, causing a small drop of blood to begin to flow out. Now. Hawks. Fine, I'll do it. It's too soon for me to be fried chicken. Sigh. I only started listening to the part where you said your plan wasn't going to work, and from there I heard your whole conversation. By the way, I know you're Midoriya. I saw you without the mask. Izuku. He takes off his mask. Yes, it's me. What will you do now? Will you tell the heroes? Hawks. Actually, no. Confused Izuku and Lady Nagant. Kana. Explain yourself. Hawks. Well, you could say that I know where the League is, or as they are now known, the Paranormal Liberation Front. Izuku. Mira's mother-in-law. Price. Mira and Izuku. Izuku. Mira. A Hawks speaks. Hawks. They are located in a mansion at the top of that mountain. Turn your head towards where the mountain is. Kana. And how do we know if what you say is true? Hawks. Why would I lie in my situation? I don't want to die. I still have work to do. Izuku. Seems like he's telling the truth. Fine, I believe you. I appreciate the information. Hawks. I know what you're thinking. You want to go for the League right away, but I suggest you don't do it now. Izuku. What are you? Hawks. It's practically suicide to face an army of villains alone. Izuku. So what? Should I just stay here and do nothing? I have a damn chance to finally catch the League and you tell me not to go. Hawks. Give me time to get more heroes. Okay. It's better to have backup. I'll tell them you're going to help us, but I won't reveal your identity. Izuku. What should I do first? Yoichi. If we're going to stop my brother and the League, we'll need all the help we can get. Izuku. Okay, fine, and you better keep my identity free. Hawks from Black Whips. Hawks. Calm down, Broccoli. I know what I'm doing. Izuku. Broccoli. Price. Holding back laughter. Broccoli. 3 weeks later. During this time, Izuku and Kana met and arrested criminals or simply chatted and began to enjoy each other's company, while with Hawks they began to recruit heroes and give them all the required information about where the League was hiding and other things, but Shigaraki already had suspicions about Hawks, so he began to advance his plans. One thing was certain, and that was that a great battle was approaching. At the moment, at the police department were the top heroes and some UA teachers, where Detective Naosama Tsukauchi showed them all the evidence of who was responsible for the Nomus, and after that meeting, all the heroes went to their respective posts for the fight that was about to come. In the AU, Kana. Good luck, little hero. looking out the window at the mountain where the mansion was located. Nezu. You've changed these days, you know. Why is that? Kana. For nothing important, I just think the sooner I'm free of all this the better I'll feel, he lied. Nezu. Claro, without believing what he said. With the heroes. Kaminari. Tokiyami whisper. Tokiyami. Is it okay? Kaminari. What are we doing here? I want to be with the other guys, whisper. Tokiyami. The heroes chose us for our quirks, and there are other students with us, so don't worry too much about it. Kaminari. I'm still nervous. By the way, do you know when Hawks will arrive to take us to the villains? Tokiyami. No, why are you asking me? Kaminari. No problem, why are they birds? Tokiyami. Even if you're right, where could it be? Hawks. A lotto de Tokiyami closer than you think. Kaminari. Ah, Tokiyami. Hawks. Looking at the heroes, sorry for the delay, I was just convincing Endeavor to bring a special guest. Midnight. What do you mean by that? Hawks. How about I show you? Hey, come out of there, you don't have to hide in the trees. A few seconds passed and finally Izuku came out of the forest in his vigilante suit. Hawks. I suppose you already know the Nightwatcher vigilante. Mount Lady. You brought a watchman. Are you crazy? Midnight. I hate to admit it but I agree with her, it's a bad idea. Fat gum. Does Endeavor really agree with this? Hawks. We're going to need a lot of help in this fight, so I asked Endeavor to let me recruit him, and he accepted. Reluctantly. Izuku. How much longer will this last? Hawks. Mira and Izuku, I know you don't like him, but you'll have to trust him. Besides, it seems like he's already itching to kick some ass. So, follow me. And so, the group of Hawks headed towards the mansion where the villains were while Endeavor was tasked with ambushing the mastermind behind the Nomus and the right hand of the symbol of evil. Once everyone was in their positions they prepared to attack. With the group of Hawks, Smentos took charge of dismantling the place with the help of his quirk, surprising all the villains who were there. Toga. What's going on? Mr. Compress. What's going on? They attack us. A green light appeared in front of the villain revealing that it was Izuku, who kicked the villain with the OFA 20% leaving him knocked out. After doing this, the green-haired man almost instantly captured the two league villains with his black whip coming out of his back, turning the whips into chains to strengthen the grip. Mr. Compress. Hey, who are you? Izuku. Just someone who wants to clear his name. Now tell me where Shigaraki is. Toga. This isn't nice at all. Let me go. Trying to break free. The green-haired boy's danger sensor was activated as he dodged behind him twice, who had a knife, so he simply caught him the same way he did with the other two. Toga. Jin. Mr. Compress. Trying to create clones for. Twice. Chi Toga. Compress, I'm sorry, but I can do it soon. It begins to melt slowly. Hawks is a traitor and I fell against the concrete, now just holding myself together as torture. But before I go, he stretches his hand towards where the toga is but can't reach it. I wanted to give you your handkerchief. But I can't reach it. I'm sorry, it's my fault we're in this situation, I was very careless. But my life was wonderful. Why were you there? Thank you, and especially to you, Toga. It finished melting, dropping the handkerchief to the ground, all of this seen by the girl who was in shock. Izuku only looked at the handkerchief for a few seconds but felt frustrated with himself. Izuku. Why do I feel bad for them? They were the ones who made you think I'm a traitor. But why me? Nana. Because you always help those in need, even if they're villains, and that's something worthy of a hero on your part. Izuku. You know, he sighs and puts the girl's handkerchief in his pocket. Toga. He saw what Izuku did, because. Whisper. Izuku. I don't know. You looked pathetic in that state. He lied. Now tell me where. Izuku's danger sensor went out of control and then he felt Gigantomachia coming out of the ground. His danger sensor activated again to dodge a burst of blue fire that ended up burning the black chains that had trapped the members of the League. Izuku. Why is this happening to me? Looking at Dabi. Dabi. Nightwatcher, right. Izuku. Dabi. Not responding. Well, what does it matter? The danger sensor was activated again behind him and he had to dodge a stab from Toga again, who had a great thirst for blood towards the green-haired man, but not his normal thirst for blood filled with love, but one of pain and hatred directed towards Izuku. Toga. Why don't heroes just die? Izuku. I'm not a hero anymore, in fact. I never was. Meanwhile, somewhere else. Garaki. This is bad. This is very bad. Running activating the high gamma nomus they arrived ahead of schedule. And Shigaraki isn't even 50% complete. There's no other option. I have to speed up the process. Starting to speed things up while in the background you hear someone approaching at high speed, pour all for one. The charge is accelerating more and more. Mirko. Arriving at the place destroying everything in its path. You're the original. Right. Smile, I'm going to kick you to make sure. Back with the green-haired guy. The boy was fighting with the 3 members of the league as best he could until he received an order. Hawks. Through a communicator in pain and Nightwatcher. Help stop Gigantomachia. We can't let him go to the city and let civilians get hurt. Izuku. But fine. Just let me get these off my back. With gearshift he began to go at high speeds to confuse the villains and then attack from multiple directions with the OFA 20% energy skin on his arms and legs to finally trap them in a cage made of solid black whip to finally go to stop Gigantomachia. Dabi. I admit that I was surprised by that technique of yours, but burn the black whip and Toga destroys it with his knives. He needs more than just that to stop us. Well, let's go for Gigantomachia before the Watchman ruins it. Looking at Mr. Compress and Toga. The Gigantomachia had already gone too far, so he used the OFA Delaware Smash Air Force plus FA Jin plus Float plus to get out of the place without knowing that he was being chased by Dabi using his blue fire to fly. Izuku was finally arriving with Gigantomachia, so to defeat him as soon as possible he gave him a kick powered by the OFA 45% energy skin plus gearshift plus FA Jin, sending the beast flying through the air. Izuku. Smash. The beast was suspended in the air for a few seconds, then the beast was wrapped with a black whip that grew spikes, which were embedded in the skin reaching the nerves of Gigantomachia, numbing it of the body. After a few seconds, Gigantomachia recovered and counterattacked with a punch towards Izuku before the blow connected with the green-haired man. He used the OFA energy skin 45% to create an energy version of himself the same size as the beast, stopping the punch with his left hand and then making his right arm bigger. And finally with his right arm he struck the beast's face. Izuku. Colossal smash. The blow was effective, making Gigantomachia retreat, who only gave a roar and went in the direction where Izuku was, launching himself at him and knocking him down. Gigantomachia. If you get in my way while I'm searching for my master, I'll kill you. Izuku. Come and try it, lapdog. Watching the fight between both giants. What an entertaining fight. I could watch it all day, but I already have plans for today. I can't wait to see Dad's face when he sees me. He smiles and then flies away with his fire towards where the Endeavor group was. Izuku. Pushing Gigantomachia back while Gigantomachia pushes him forward so that it becomes a resistance fight. Where is the help when it is most needed? Mount Lady. Hey Watchman. Want help? Canyon Cannon. Throwing a flying kick to Gigantomachia's face, pushing him away from Izuku. Daigoro. Convenient. Midnight. Arriving at the place with the help of Kamui hoods and tearing a part of your suit with his quirk activated. Don't forget about us. Izuku. Even better. Hey. I have an idea on how to stop him. Just follow my lead. Mount Lady. Stop Gigantomachia. Undoes your version of energy. Kamui hoods. Why Midnight Sigami. The two aforementioned only obeyed and followed Izuku, who using float plus black whip began to fly around Gigantomachia's legs. Kamui hoods began to understand the green-haired man's plan, so using his quirk he began to do the same as Izuku. Izuku. Now Midnight. The heroine with the help of Kamui hoods and Mount Lady was able to get close to Gigantomachia's face to apply her quirk, who slowly fell asleep and fell to the floor. With the beast already neutralized, Kamui hoods and Izuku used their quirks to reinforce their grip to ensure it doesn't move. Izuku. That should do it. Endeavor. All available heroes come to my coordinates immediately, speaking through the communicator and sending the coordinates. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the top heroes were accompanied by Bakugo and Todoroki fighting against Shigaraki, who was giving them all the same fight. Shigaraki. You may not know it, but society is increasingly approaching its imminent destruction. Smile, once I have the OFA no one will stop me. Plus I can know it's coming. Endeavor. And what makes you think that? Throwing a large burst of fire towards Shigaraki, who only blocked it with an energy barrier. Shigaraki. Because a video about your family's history is about to be broadcast nationwide, leaving the number one in shock. In the video, Dabi. Greetings, my name is Toya Todoroki. In the broadcast, Dabi began to explain the entire history of the Todoroki family and the corruption of several heroes until he arrived. Dabi. Not only is society corrupt, but there is also a lot of hypocrisy. If someone of greater authority than you tells you something, you simply believe it without hesitation. Proof of this is about the traitor of Izuku Midoriya. He was framed for treason due to some videos sent by villains, and instead of the heroes denying this, he went for the boy without hesitation. The Izuku videos begin to play, revealing that they were clones of Twice's pretending to be Izuku in all the videos. Look down for a few moments, not to mention that they're now treating him like a criminal and a fugitive. Call me society. He looks up, smiling crazily at the camera. What does it feel good to know that they are the real villains? Back in the fight, many things happened while the broadcast was played across the country, from Dabi arriving at the place revealing his true identity to Endeavor and Todoroki until the rest of the members of the league, with help from one of Shigaraki's quirks, to the place of the fight. Shigaraki. Wanna know the best part, brats? That Izuku Midoriya was never a traitor, leaving the students present at the scene in shock. How do you feel after turning your back on your friend? He smiles like a crazy smile. Before anything else could happen, Shigaraki received an air bullet directly to the face, disorienting him. When he turned to see where the air bullet came from, he received a punch in the face, breaking his nose and sending him flying a couple of meters. Izuku. Undoing the OFA energy skin 45% on his left arm. I was really looking forward to doing that. Whisper. Your entry. Regenerating your broken nose. You're a Nightwatcher, right? Izuku. Shigaraki. No responses. It's the same. He moves at high speed towards where Izuku was because you will die very soon. Izuku, using the danger sensor, dodged a punch that was going straight to his head, generated a gust of air pushing Izuku away, but due to the air pressure the mask could not hold anymore and broke, revealing his true identity to everyone present. Todoroki. Bakugo. Midoriya. Deku. Izuku. He sighs and turns to look at Todoroki and Bakugo. Hello, annoying. Shigaraki. So it was you. Use the quirk search and it seems you have the OFA. Izuku. How do you know about the existence of the OFA? Yoichi. It must have been my brother who told him about the OFA's existence. This is bad. Endeavor. Afa. Shigaraki. And thanks to my master's AFO I will be able to make this country a total chaos, but before that. How have you been doing this time? Smiles to provoke Izuku. Izuku. Clenching his fists. Shigaraki. I bet very well. It must have been fun that heroes and friends treated you like a criminal. It must have been great that the people you helped so much turned their backs on you. Izuku starts to get angrier. Well, do you have something to tell me? Izuku. Thank you, Shigaraki. Izuku. Thank you for reminding me why I'm here in the first place. I came here to kill you once and for all. All for one. He spoke coldly as the OFA plus Black Whips plus danger sensor activated like crazy. Shigaraki's desire to anger Izuku really worked, but he didn't expect the boy to use his Black Whips to throw him to a great height. Then he made a movement with his hands and from one second to the next he disappeared from his sight to appear behind him ready to attack him. Izuku. If I want to make sure he doesn't do any more damage, I can't let him use his damage touch the floor. Activate the OFA 100% plus Black Whip for his arms smash. Shigaraki turned around and was about to attack him but received a big blow to the chest from the green-haired boy that sent him crashing to the ground, but the boy didn't stop there and dived at high speed towards where Shigaraki was to attack again. Izuku. Detroit Smash. Quintuple. With the help of the gearshift he gave a Detroit Smash 5 times in a row. He took out a Black Whip turning them into chains to raise Shigaraki to the sky again. Then he used Float plus Gearshift plus FA Jin plus Smokescreen to go out to attack where Shigaraki was, who was about to counterattack with an energy attack but received a kick to his right in the face from the green-haired man. Then in less than 10 seconds he received 8 powerful kicks in multiple directions until the last attack was made with his fist. Your entry. Visualizing All Might instead of Izuku All Might. Izuku. Lightning Smash. X10. Punching Shigaraki in the face, blowing off part of his head, leaving only the lower part, leaving only his mouth. After that attack everything went silent. After all the heroes went into shock. Did the broccoli really kill the villain? ... Inside Shigaraki's mind. AFO. It seems the child is learning at a great speed. Impressive. Don't worry Tamura, you've already done your part. Now it's my turn to do mine. Smile. Returning to the real world. Everything remains silent until registration. AFO. He sighs, touches his mouth, and brings his hand to where his face is supposed to be. This feels like deja vu, doesn't it? All Might. Whisper hee. Ha 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 ha. He smiles and quickly the rest of his head regenerates, showing the crazy face he had. Before Izuku's danger sensor could react, his face was grabbed very tightly by Shigaraki AFO in an attempt to steal the OFA. Todoroki. Midoriya. In the OFA and AFO nuclei. AFO. It really feels almost like a dream. Smile, very soon the OFA will finally be mine. Izuku. All for one. He is covered in a black mist that covers his mouth and lower body. You enter, seeing an incomplete fusion between both individuals. Yoichi. I'm afraid not, brother, you'll never have the OFA, not while Izuku Midoriya and them continue to fight to stop you. Nana. You'll never have the OFA. AFO. Oh. Look Tamura, you can finally meet your grandmother in person. Do you have anything to tell her? Shigaraki. I don't regret what happened in that house. And now all I want is to destroy everything I hate. Nana. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I didn't want to bring up the OFA and AFO issue with my family. I thought the best option was to keep them separate. AFO. And look how it turned out in the end. Smile. Nana. Yoichi. Your manipulations won't work on us, no matter what you say, because you know that the OFA is the embodiment of heroism itself, and as long as it exists you will never win. And that's why the other carriers emerge behind Yoichi and begin to materialize in the form of light, just like Nana, and all those lights begin to enter Izuku's chest. Izuku Midoriya will remain the bearer of the OFA. After Izuku received the lights from the other carriers, his vigilante suit returned, the black mist that covered his mouth disappeared. He looked seriously at the two villains in front of him. Izuku. AFO. Join. He began to run at high speed towards the villains in front of him, and with his right arm he activated the OFA, where rays of multiple colors emerged, and he punched with all his strength towards the aforementioned, illuminating the entire place. In the real world. Not much time had passed, but still Todoroki, Bakugo and Endeavor were going as fast as they could to get Shigaraki AFO away from Izuku. But as they got closer they saw red rays emerging from Shigaraki AFO wanting to steal the OFA, while with Izuku there were rays of multiple colors repelling this, so that in the end both quirks could not resist anymore and sent both Shigaraki AFO and Izuku flying in opposite directions. Izuku. That was close. Whisper, how is the OFA? Yoichi. The OFA is fine. Izuku. Thank goodness. Daigoro. Kid, remember the fight isn't over yet. Todoroki. Midoriya. What happened? Are you okay? Izuku. Yes, I'm fine. Anyway, we just have to take care of AFO. He'll recover soon. He feels sharp pains in his arms and legs. He removes his black whip from his arms to realize they are purple. Damn. Not now. Use a lot of power in a short time. Holding his arms tightly, I just need. Little by little he begins to fall unconscious. Shigaraki AFO. The transfer was not possible. Looking at Izuku's state, it doesn't matter. I just have to do it one more time, and he remained silent as he was strangled by a cable. Best Jeanist. Sorry it took so long. From here many casualties occurred for the heroes, and unfortunately for them the villains had managed to escape because of Shigaraki AFO, in addition to doing great damage around them, costing the lives of several civilians. Days later. If that wasn't enough, Endeavor confessed to the press everything Dabi said. Todoroki knew, and the UA director also apologized for Izuku's betrayal, but the damage was already done, and that's why several civilians began to distrust the heroes, and other heroes decided to resign. Hospital. Izuku's room. OFA core. Nana. Izuku Midoriya, would you be willing to kill Shigaraki even knowing that AFO controls him? Izuku. Covered in fog. Nods. Shigaraki being controlled or not by AFO is a threat, and especially his deteriorating quirk. The mist begins to fade away, revealing a small Izuku. I'm sorry, but you know I'm right. He returns to his normal age with his vigilante clothes. The main objective of the OFA is to end the AFO. Yoichi. But the OFA is the representation of the heroi. Izuku. I'm not a hero, I never was, I was just a kid dreaming of being one, but that doesn't matter to me anymore. Remembering Kana, I guess she was right about society being very fragile. Daigoro. Nana. Yoichi. Sai, I understand that you think that about yourself and society, but I want you to remember that there are 4 people who believe in you. Nana. Even if one of them made a mistake, but is willing to earn your trust again. Looking at All Might's silhouette. Izuku. Record this, Eri and Kana. Memory. Kana. Izuku Midoriya. He approaches the boy and begins to lightly stroke his head. You are a true hero, smile. End of memory. Izuku. With eyes closed and sighs, I remember that in the cores of the AFA and AFO, Shigaraki seemed to be dying and resisting the control of AFO and his gaze. It was like someone asking for help. Looking at Nana, I can't guarantee that I'll save him. But I'll try. Nana. Thanks Izuku. Watching Izuku fade away. In the real world. Izuku. Slowly opening his eyes only to see purple eyes in front of him. The price. Kana. Despertaste. She sighs in relief and hugs him. Thank goodness. Izuku. Slightly blushing, he reciprocates the hug and gently strokes Kana's hair. I'm sorry to worry you, what happened while I was asleep? Kana. Dabi had broadcasted nationwide about Endeavor's family history and more hero corruption cases, as well as showing everyone your innocence. Izuku. I see. Kana. Also, Izuku. Kana. There's someone who wanted to see you earlier. Turning to see the entrance of the room where Inko was. Izuku. Mom, blushing knowing that his mom saw him acting affectionate with Kana. Inko. I see you're okay. Smiles slightly. What a relief. Mirando and Kana, are you the beautiful girl my son talks so much about? Smile. Kana. Hermosa, blushing slightly. Izuku. Looking away. Mom, don't start with that. All Might. Young Midoriya, I received the news that you woke up. Miranda gives him and his wife. Did I arrive at a bad time? Izuku. What's wrong? All Might. Turning to see All Might. All Might. Turn on the TV in the room. In the news. Reporter. As many of you know, a few days ago Shigaraki along with an army of villains caused too much chaos. Several families died in the process. Several families were left homeless, and one of the most shocking things is to know now that the heroes have been hiding information about themselves. An example is the current one hero of the country, Endeavor, who revealed the horrible things he had done to his family. In other news, it seems that Shigaraki is looking for the OFA. The real question is who are the OFA? Is it a quirk, a person? And why does Shigaraki want it so much? The TV turns off. In the hospital, Izuku. This is going from bad to worse. Staring at the ceiling for a few seconds. Where is my suit? Without taking his eyes off the ceiling. All Might. About that. Izuku. All Might. Much of your suit suffered a lot of damage. Izuku. Brilliant. All Might. Even though. You still have one more suit. Izuku. What are you talking about? No. Kana. Her outfit. Your hero outfit. Izuku. Yes, but if I use it I'll feel uncomfortable. All Might. I knew this would happen, that's why I asked the UA to change it. He leaves the room for a few moments and returns with a suitcase with the number 18 and the UA logo. Izuku. Hesitantly, he slowly opens his suitcase to see his new suit. Kana. What happens? Smile a little. Izuku. Blink a couple of times. Aren't they going out? Kana. I wouldn't mind seeing. Smiles flirtatiously as a joke. Izuku. Blushing. Please leave. A few minutes later. The green-haired man finally left the room in his new suit, adjusting his gloves. Izuku. Not bad. Price. Smile. It fits you well, and seriously in some places it is quite tight. She discreetly looks at the green-haired man's abs, blushing a little. Izuku. Thank you. All Might. Okay, We can go back to the UA now. Izuku. Wait, I never said I was going there and you never told me anything like that either. A little annoying. All Might. Going out in search of the League of Villains without a clue didn't work for you, it's better to have all the support possible. Izuku. He complains well. I just want to avoid meeting them. All Might. In the AU. Director's office. Here were Kana, Inko, All Might, Izuku and Director Nezu. Everything was normal, until... Izuku. Are you serious? Nezu. I ask you to please train your former teammates to strengthen them for what is coming. Izuku. There are no heroes left for that. Why me? Nezu. In just these few months you've become too strong to the level of a professional hero and you seem to have more use of the OFA than you had before. That's why I need you to help train Class 1A. He bows to the floor. I want you to know that I'm truly sorry about that. I'm sure you know I apologized on the news, but I wanted to apologize to you personally, Midoriya. I'm truly sorry, and I'm willing to do anything for you. Izuku. Look at Inko who only smiled a little and Kana who also smiled but mockingly. He slowly clenches his fists tightly and complains through gritted teeth. Okay. I'll do it. Nezu. He raises his head looking at Izuku. Thank you so much Midoriya. He gets up from the floor. Class 1A already knows that you will train him. Go to the Gamma Gym. Izuku. Great. Since you say you'll do anything for me, I'm going to need help training them. The others leave the office but they heard him. Nezu. And who does he need help from? Izuku. He turns to look at Kana with a small mocking smile. She understood but could no longer respond. And then Nezu. Lady Nagant. Why her? Izuku. He said anything, right? Nezu. SCP Puro. Izuku. Puro, seriously. Nezu. And nothing, it's okay. Izuku. Well, with this done, we're off. Nezu. One last thing. Izuku. What? Turns to look at Nezu. Nezu. Well, I just wanted to say that there's someone who misses you a lot. This surprised Izuku a little, but he didn't give it much importance. All Might guided Inko to the places where the civilians would stay in the UA while Izuku and Kana just continued on their way to the Gamma Gym. Kana. Why did you bring me with you? A little upset. Izuku. If I'm going to suffer this I'd like to have someone with me. Kana. Oh yeah, and why me? Maybe for something specific. She leans slightly, arms behind her back, and smiles flirtatiously. Izuku. Slightly blushing, looking away. I already told you, if I go. Kana. If you wanted me to spend more time with you you could have told me. It doesn't bother me, although the only disadvantage is being with those brats. Izuku. Okay, are you ready? Kana. No, and you? Izuku. You're welcome. Before entering, the green-haired man just gave a deep sigh to calm down from what was about to happen. Finally he entered to see how his ex-classmates were talking to each other until they noticed the presence of Izuku and Kana turning towards where they were. Bakugo. Iida. Midoriya, solo Kariyamos. Izuku. Save everything you were going to say, Iida. I'm only here because the director asked me to do this. Uraraka. Deku led us. Izuku. It's Midoriya. No Deku. Please don't call me that again. Todoroki. I know we interacted a bit in battle but... Izuku. Just shut up, okay. Listen carefully. Annoying, we may be colleagues, but we are not friends. If you think that an apology is enough, you are very wrong. Words can be misleading, but actions speak more about people than how they really are. Sigh, if you really regret it, you'll have to prove it with your actions, but for now I'm just here to train you. Is that clear? Class 1A. They nod their heads. Izuku. Okay, I guess we can start now. Kaminari. Raise your hand. Izuku. What's wrong, Kaminari? Kaminari. Who is that woman next to you? Izuku. Come and see me. Myra's mother-in-law. Kana. Well, I'm Lady Nagant, a former heroine, and I'm also going to help you train. Thanks to this broccoli. Gently ruffles Izuku's blushing hair. Izuku. Don't do that. Kana. Ah, how cute you look when you get upset. Joking. Daigoro. Wow kid, she sure goes all out. Izuku. Just shut up. Izuku. He clears his throat and looks back at Class 1A. Okay, ready to train. Class 1A. Yes. 20 minutes later, a fight had started between Izuku and Class 1A, where most of the students were out of combat and the few who were conscious were holding their stomachs too tightly because of the pain they felt. Iida, Todoroki, Kirishima, Uraraka, and Yaoyorozu. Now only Bakugo and Izuku were left fighting, where the green-haired man had a slight advantage in the fight. In the fight, Izuku used his black whip to catch Bakugo, but he used his explosions to avoid it. Bakugo took Izuku's black whip to force him to get closer to him. Izuku, realizing this, undid the black whip and covered his entire head with energy thanks to the OFA energy skin to avoid receiving an explosion in the face from Bakugo. Izuku grabbed the blonde's right wrist and began to hit him against the floor a couple of times and then threw him a few meters away from the gym. As a final attack, he kicked the blonde with the OFA energy skin 30% in the stomach, knocking the air and saliva out of his mouth so that he crashed against a wall, leaving a small crater in it. Izuku, deactivating the OFA and so concludes today's training, approaches Kana. Kana, you just wanted to show off for me, he smiles jokingly. Izuku, maybe without giving much importance to what he said, although he had a small blush that was not very noticeable. Are we going? Kana, sure, but are you going to leave them lying there, pointing at the students? Izuku, Price, Izuku, they'll be fine. When both were about to leave the Gamma Gym, the door opened, showing All Might, Mirio and Nezu. Mirio, hey, we were just passing by too, watching the students. All Might, see, you're watching the students. Nezu, training. I finished the sentence looking at his students. Izuku, they have a lot to learn. Kana, that's right. Smile. Nezu, why yes, I already noticed. Izuku, what are you doing here? Nezu, well, as I told you before leaving my office, someone missed you very much. Mirio, you can come in. There was a brief silence until small footsteps began to be heard, as someone approached, until it was finally revealed to be Izuku. Different, slightly surprised. Eri, Nightwatcher, Nightwatcher. He starts running towards where Izuku is and hugs his legs. Izuku. He lowers himself to Eri's height and hugs her back. It's nice to see you again, Eri, and I see that you look happier than the last time I saw you. Smile a little. Eri, why yes, I had a lot of fun here and you were right, if they were good people. Thanks for saving me, Nightwatcher. Without you I wouldn't be here happy. Izuku, you're welcome, Eri, but calling me Izuku, that's my real name. I told you when I saved you, stroking the girl's head. Eri, see Izuku. Happy look at the status of Class 1A. Are they okay? Slightly worried. Izuku. Don't worry, they're fine, they're just. Kana. Resting after a great workout. Eri. Ooh, and who are you, miss? Are you Izuku's girlfriend? Izuku. And no. Kana. Wrong. Completing Izuku's sentence. Izuku. How do you know that word, Eri? Eri. From the Pink Lady. She told me that the bride and groom are two people who are very happy together, and I see that you are very close to the lady and you looked happy. Izuku. I see, when we train again I made sure Ishido suffers, blushing. Kana. I can make a profit from this, mentally smile. Yes, that's right, little one, Izuku and I are dating. She smiles affectionately, hugging Izuku's right arm, trapping it between her breasts. Izuku. In shock, until she finally reacts and blushes even more to the point of steam coming out of her ears. What are you doing? Kana. You. Nothing, I just treat my boyfriend as he deserves. Maintaining her loving attitude. Izuku. Please enough. Blushing Kana. What, don't you love me? Pretending to be sad. Izuku. I never said that. Whisper Kana. What did you say? Getting closer to Izuku, putting his hand on his ear to hear him better. Izuku. I never said that. He whispered again. Kana. Really, slightly blushed. Izuku. Looks like I found a weak spot. Let's see if this calms it down. Smile a little. Yes, mother. He takes both of the woman's hands while smiling calmly. I truly believe that you are an extraordinary woman. Price. Blushing thank you. Izuku. He takes his left hand off Kana's hand. Well, we should go. Eri, are you coming with us? Offering his left hand. You were. Yes. Happy goes with Izuku and Kana holding Izuku's hand. Izuku. All Might. He entrusted Class 1A All Might. EA. Esper seeing that they've already left, he turns to see the still unconscious students, then looks at Nezu. Recovery girl won't like this. 3 weeks later. Everything went on normally, Izuku training, torturing, Class 1A where they gradually improved their skills thanks to the notes that Izuku made to each one. Accompanied by Kana who helped with the training, torture. When they weren't doing that they spent time with Eri or Inko, and other times they spent time together where they joked with each other, embarrassing themselves every time they had the opportunity, and some other moment in which both were nervous, but showing how their bond was improving. Everything was normal until one day. Izuku. Wiping away the little sweat he had and sighs, well, today's training is over. I admit you've improved. You can now withstand my blows better, you're faster at dodging and counter-attacking. And don't expect any more compliments because I've already run out of them. Iida. Thank you very much Midoriya, and you too Lady Nagant. Kana. Yeah, don't thank me. Play with Izuku's cheeks. It was thanks to this little broccoli that he convinced me to help. Izuku. Taking Kana's wrists gently and smiling at her, would you like to taste this broccoli? He moves his left hand to Kana's chin and gently takes it, joking. Price. Slightly blushed. You really like doing this kind of things. Izuku. It's not my fault that I have someone so beautiful in front of me. Price. Crossing her arms and looking away with a slight blush. You should tell it to any woman. Izuku. Only the one I love. Slightly blushed, he quickly covers his mouth with his right hand. Kana. What? A shock. Izuku, feeling watched by the entire class, only gets more embarrassed and then takes Kana by the hand, so they both leave the Gamma Gym, still with the ex-heroine who was still in shock from what she heard from the green-haired boy. They were both silent while the boy continued holding Kana's hand. She didn't complain or anything, she just remained silent like Izuku. They didn't know how long they continued walking. An hour? 2 hours? They only know that there was a time when they arrived at the Ua forest where the green-haired man finally let go of the bicolor girl's hand and then leaned against a tree behind him. The silence was still there. It wasn't good or bad, but someone had to say something. Izuku. Slightly blushed and sighs to calm down. The price. Price. Izuku. Kana. Just let me ask you something. Izuku. A little nervous he nodded his head. Kana. What you said about loving me, was it real? Izuku. Blushing. Why yes. The truth is I started to like you. I like spending time with you. Sometimes I even completely forget about how society is right now. You're cute when you're embarrassed. You make me feel at peace with myself. I just want to say that I don't see you as Lady Nagant. I see you as Kana Tsutsumi, a beautiful, strong, cute woman who I love. I'll understand if you only see me as a friend. After all, I highly doubt you'd see me any other way. Looking at the floor, he sees how Kana's shadow approaches him and feels how Kana grabs him by the shoulders with both hands. Confused, he looks up to see a blushing Kana. Price. Blushing. You talk too much. From one moment to the next, Kana was ready to kiss the green-haired boy, who was in a small shock until little by little he began to reciprocate the kiss. Seconds passed, then a few minutes until they finally separated due to the lack of oxygen. Kana. I love you too my dear broccoli. She smiles blushing. Izuku. Does that mean we're now? Kana. I would love that. Happy. Izuku. Well, since we're now dating, I guess you won't mind me doing this. He gives Kana a small kiss on the lips. Kana. I could get used to this. Smile. Some voices were heard not far from where they were, which seemed a little strange to them, so they decided to follow the sound of the voices silently until they hid behind a tree. Aoyama. We received a new order from L. Here the heroes and security cameras will not detect us. Yuga, please do what he asks us. Aoyama. Mom, Dad, I want to do this now. I didn't want this to happen. I know I wanted to be a hero, but not like this. If I had known what he was going to do, putting my classmates in danger because of the villain's attacks, even blaming Midoriya and making everyone hate him. If I had destroyed that memory, if I had never given it to Principal Nezu. Crying. Mr. Aoyama. Yuga. We only want the best for you. We know how they treat those who are different, and that's why we ask him for help. It doesn't matter if we try to hide, HIM will find us. We believed that by being locked up in Tartarus we would be safe. Aoyama. Mom, I just want this to be over, crying. They would have continued talking until they heard the sound of a branch breaking. They turned behind them to see an Izuku who had a look that emanated great anger directed towards them. Izuku. Can you repeat what you just said about that memory, Aoyama? The atmosphere suddenly changed, becoming very heavy from one second to the next. The green-haired man disappeared from the sight of Aoyama and his parents. In less than a second Aoyama had received a punch in the stomach, drawing saliva and breaking 2 ribs in the process. Then he broke the belt so that Aoyama would not use his quirk, and finally caught him with a black whip. Mr. de Aoyama. Yuga. Salva. The parents would be silenced upon receiving a blow to the neck from the green-haired man who only had a great expression of pure anger directed towards the family. Izuku. All this time, I was wondering, who was the one who sent the video to Principal Nezu? It couldn't have been villains, otherwise the security system would have been activated. But I never thought it would be you. Looking at Aoyama, he squeezes the black whip harder, causing the blonde to begin to agonize from the pain. Kana. Izuku, just taking him by the shoulders while looking at him. Let the director and the heroes handle this. Izuku. He just nodded and stopped squeezing Aoyama with the black whip, but he still had him captured. Then he used the black whip on Aoyama's unconscious parents to take them away. A little while later. Nezu. So that's what happened. I also had doubts about who sent me that memory. The day they delivered it I only heard the door to my office, and when I opened it there was only the memory on the floor. I even checked the security cameras, but they didn't capture who gave it to looking at the family. Now Principal Nezu, All Might, Aizawa, Class 1A, Izuku and Kana were watching the Aoyama family sitting and subjected to metal chairs. Kirishima. This has to be a joke. First Midoriya and now you Aoyama. Tell me they only framed you like they did Midoriya? Mina. Why does this have to happen again? Crying in silence. Izuku. I'm leaving. Do what you want with Aoyama, I just don't want to see him, angry. Izuku leaves the place accompanied by Kana, who only takes the green-haired boy's hand to try to calm him down. In the forest. Here were the sniper and the broccoli, where the latter was hitting a tree with his bare fists as hard as he could to vent his anger. Izuku. It was all his fault. Hit the tree. If only he had destroyed that damn memory. Hit the tree harder. I wouldn't have spent all that time hiding. He kicks the tree with all his strength where it slowly begins to fall. Kana. Are you better? Izuku. He sighed and sat on the floor with his knees covering his face and his arms crossed. No. I don't know, it's just that I. Kana. You don't know how to express it. He sees how Izuku just nods his head, sighs and sits next to the green-haired boy. Okay, listen. Izuku just looks at her, ready to listen to her. Yes, he could have destroyed that memory, but that didn't guarantee that society would be thrown into complete chaos, right? Besides, look how much you've progressed in such a short time. Yes, you had no choice, but also think about the good things that happened because of it. You rescued Eri all by yourself and we met. I kiss Izuku's cheek. Izuku. Slightly blushed. Yes, something good happened after all. I was lucky enough to meet a beautiful, strong, lovely woman. Smile a little. Well, I'm still a bit upset about Aoyama, but now I understand that he didn't do it for fun. Both he and his family were being threatened by All for One. They didn't have many options at that moment other than just obeying. And thank you for being with me during these moments. Kiss Kana's cheek. Kana. You know, now that you're in a better mood. He approaches Izuku's ear. We could have a little fun. He whispers flirtatiously. Izuku. Blushing 100%. Look around to make sure there's no one around to see or hear them. Come here. Starting to kiss Kana, who only limited herself to reciprocating the kiss with pleasure while sitting on Izuku's lap. To summarize the 30 minutes they were there were many kisses, and you could say that Izuku gave Kana a little souvenir on her neck and in other places where I'll leave it to your imagination. Some souvenirs that might not go away for a while. A little while later. The green-haired boy returned to the dorms, where everyone was still there. Some were surprised that Izuku returned, due to the attitude he had before leaving, and now he returned with a serious look, and Kana with a look of disinterest but hiding her neck as best as possible while a small blush lived on her cheeks. Leaving that aside, the boy took a few steps forward to approach Aoyama. Izuku. Looking at Class 1A, The principal and All Might. I apologize for my attitude earlier, I just went to vent. I'm fine now. Turns to look at Aoyama. Aoyama, I can't ignore what you did, so I can only accept what happened and that nothing can be changed. Aoyama. Midoriya, no matter how you say it. I'm just a disgusting villain. Aij just. Izuku. All for One ordered you to try and save Kachan and Tokiyami during the attack on the camp? All for One ordered you to leave me that message with cheese? I know perfectly well I didn't ask you to do any of that. Sai, even though you say you're a villain, I know your desire to be a hero is genuine. I understand that because when I was quirkless I never gave up even when it seemed impossible. But there was someone back then who told me the words I needed, and I guess now it's my turn to say them. Aoyama. He extends his hand to Aoyama still. You can be a hero. These words surprised those present at the scene and even more the blonde man with a French accent, who just cried in silence. Price. Approaching Izuku and placing his hand on the boy's head, gently stroking his hair. You did well. Whisper. Izuku. He looks away slightly with a slight blush. Thank you. After this, they all began to plan their next move, which was to trick All for One using Aoyama and his parents. Kan Izuku y Kana. They were both on the roof of the academy, looking out over the landscape of a ruined city while holding hands. Izuku. It seems the outcome is about to arrive. Kana. So it seems. Izuku. Kana. I know you don't like this whole heroes and villains thing, but you know heroes need help and... Kana. You know, if anyone had asked me how I'd help them, I would have said no and shot them in the head. But, if you're asking me, it seems I have no choice. Smile a little. Izuku. Excuse me for asking you that. Kana. Don't worry, if we want to live together in peace, I guess I'll have to help make that wish come true. Izuku. Yes. Together. He smiles a little, takes Kana's hand and intertwines his fingers with hers. Price. Looking at the landscape. Izuku. Looking at the landscape. Price. Izuku. This is the calm before the storm, right? Kana. I guess if, Izuku. We're going to win. Whispering. Yoichi. So be it. A couple of days later. The tension in the dormitories of Class 1A was palpable. Preparations for the confrontation with All for One were underway, and the pressure was beginning to weigh on each of the students. The conversations were short, the laughter scarce, and everyone seemed lost in their own thoughts. Izuku, sitting in a corner of the common room, went over and over every detail of the plan. Kana was leaning against a wall, watching him with a mix of concern and admiration. Despite how young he was, he had endured so much and was still going. However, even the strongest needed support, and she was there to make sure Izuku didn't carry everything alone. The sound of the door opening caught everyone's attention. Principal Nezu, followed by All Might, Hawks and Endeavor, entered the place. Their expressions were serious, reflecting the importance of what was about to be discussed. Nezu. It's time to go over the last details of the plan. The class gathered in a circle around the little headmaster. Hawks was the first to speak, with his serious but direct tone. Hawks. Aoyama will be the key piece for this. According to the intercepted message, All for One is waiting for a report on the hero's movements. We will use that communication to send him false information and lure him to the location we have prepared. Momo. How safe is this? We don't know how closely All for One has his agents watching Aoyama and his family. Nezu. We have taken measures to ensure that communication is completely secure and untraceable. In addition, Aoyama and his parents will be under constant surveillance by trusted heroes. Despite the reassuring words, concern was evident on everyone's faces. It was Izuku who finally broke the silence. Izuku. Sai, okay, you heard it. This plan requires everyone's collaboration. So stop worrying about something bad happening. If we hesitate, the villains will take advantage of that and kill us. Do you really want to be heroes? The entire Class 1A nodded. So. Prove it by fighting with all your might. Bakugo. Don't tell me what to do. Izuku. You know that's what we'll do. Hits the green-haired man's shoulder. Iida. Yes, Midoriya. We're not going to back down. Uraraka. Let's go all out. Class 1A. Yes. It was then that Kana, who had remained silent, finally spoke, capturing everyone's attention with her direct tone. Kana. Well done, Broccoli. You managed to motivate the class. Caresses her hair. Izuku. Yano, slightly blushed. The day of the confrontation. The operation was underway. Aoyama, accompanied by his parents, was at the designated place for the meeting with All for One. The heroes remained hidden in the shadows, with communications ready to intervene at any moment. All for One's voice echoed through the devices, clear and filled with that coldness that made them shudder. All for One. Wow, little Aoyama, I'm impressed that you're still fulfilling your duties. Loyalty is a rare quality these days. Aoyama gulped, his body trembling slightly, but he maintained his composure. Aoyama. Why yes, master, I did as you asked, and gathered the information on the heroes. From the shadows, Izuku watched closely, every word, every movement, analyzing it to make sure the plan didn't get out of control. Kana was at his side, with her rifle ready and her gaze fixed on the target. Price. Whisper if that bastard shows up, I'll take him down before he gets near the Aoyama kid. Izuku. Whisper I know you want to do it, but we have to wait for the right moment. Price. Rolling his eyes I know. The exchange continued, and eventually, All for One's voice changed slightly, showing interest. All for One. Well done, Aoyama, I knew I could trust you. Now, tell me, where are the heroes? This was the critical moment. The false information they had prepared would be the bait to attract All for One and his army to the right place. Aoyama took a breath and answered with a trembling voice. Aoyama. They're preparing an ambush in Hosu City. From their hiding place, the heroes held their breath. If All for One detected the lie, the entire plan would collapse. There was a long silence. All for One. Interesting. Well, see you soon, little Aoyama. Communication was cut off, and the group in the hideout began to move quickly. Hawks and Endeavor led the team to prepare the actual ambush at the planned location. Izuku and Kana stood back for a moment, watching Aoyama, who finally fell to his knees, shaking and crying silently. Izuku. Getting closer. Hey, you did well, Aoyama, thanks to you we might have a chance to surprise him. Kana. Well done kid. Aoyama just nodded, unable to respond with words. On the battlefield, the location was prepared. The heroes had formed a perimeter, hiding among the ruined buildings of the abandoned city. Izuku was at the front, along with Kana and other experienced heroes. Izuku. Whispering it's now or never, we have to win this. Kana looked at him sideways and lightly punched him on the shoulder. Kana. We will, there's no doubt about it. And if everything goes well, we could go on a date. Whisper. Izuku. I would love that. Smile a little. The sound of explosions in the distance signaled the start of the battle. The villains had arrived, led by Shigaraki and All for One's other lieutenants. The fight for the future had begun. The scene was tinged with a deep red by the sunset. The battlefield, littered with rubble and ruins, was the scene of a monumental confrontation. In front of Izuku Midoriya stood two figures that represented the pinnacle of threat. Tamura Shigaraki and All for One. Shigaraki, with his evolved body and power amplified by the incomplete fusion with All for One, radiated overwhelming energy. At his side, All for One, although worn out and using a body that was beginning to fall apart, stood tall like a puppeteer who still pulled the strings of chaos. Fire. Looking at Izuku with a sinister smile. How touching. Izuku Midoriya, you came this far. But tell me, do you really think you can stop us? Your entry. Cold. Leave it to me, master, this is my fight. Fire. Placing a hand on his shoulder. Patience, Tamura, this moment is crucial. We both share a goal, to destroy the last carrier of the OFA, once and for all. Izuku clenched his fists, his eyes burning with determination, the weight of his injuries and exhaustion evident, but he couldn't back down. Behind him, Kana gave him a worried look, holding her rifle. With force. Izuku. Whisper 2 against 1. This isn't going to be easy. Shigaraki was the first to move, launching himself towards Izuku with impressive speed. With his disintegration quirk evolved, each touch caused the ground beneath his feet to crumble, creating a chain reaction of destruction. Izuku reacted quickly, activating hover to stay in the air while his black whips formed barriers that blocked Shigaraki's attacks. Your entry. Smiling. Is that all you have? Before Izuku could counterattack, A dark beam streaked through the air, forcing him to dodge. All for One had entered the fray, combining multiple quirks to launch long-range attacks that kept Izuku cornered. Fire. Mocking tone. Don't forget that you are facing two generations of the same darkness. Izuku. I can't fight both of them at the same time. I need to separate them. With a swift maneuver, Izuku used hover and black whips to create a diversion, launching debris towards Shigaraki as he lunged at All for One. The tactic worked momentarily. Izuku managed to land a direct hit to All for One's face, but it wasn't enough to knock him down. Fire. Sarcastic. Nice try. All for One countered with a shockwave that threw Izuku several meters back. From a high position, Kana took advantage of the chaos to fire directly at All for One. The special bullets, designed to penetrate barriers, managed to pierce the villain's defenses, forcing him to retreat. Kana. Izuku, focus on Shigaraki. I'll take care of the other one. Izuku hesitated for a few seconds, but seeing the firmness in Kana's eyes, he just nodded. Izuku. Just be careful, looking into Kana's eyes. With renewed speed, Izuku turned his attention to Shigaraki, who seemed frustrated by the interruption. Shigaraki. Do you really think you can ignore me? Izuku responded by activating his energy skin, covering his body in a solid, glowing armor. Using 45% of One for All, he launched himself at Shigaraki, exchanging ground-shaking blows. Izuku. I won't let you hurt anyone else. Izuku's attacks were precise and devastating, but Shigaraki did not retreat. With each blow, his movements became more chaotic, unleashing his disintegration in all directions. Shigaraki. Everything must disappear. Izuku activated Float and used the black whips to contain the shockwave, while looking for an opening to attack. Meanwhile, Kana kept All for One busy with calculated shots, but the villain, although weakened, began to use his most destructive quirks, creating a shower of explosions that forced Kana to momentarily retreat. AFO. Ha ha ha. Admirable, but you know this isn't enough. At that moment, All for One raised a hand towards Shigaraki, who was beginning to lose control due to exhaustion. AFO. It's time for me to guide you, Tamura, lend your body. Shigaraki's body stopped for a second, and his voice changed, taking on the dark tone of All for One. Izuku. I won't allow it. With incredible speed, Izuku charged towards them, but All for One, Shigaraki unleashed a combined attack that threw him to the ground with brutal force. AFO, Shigaraki. United again. Now I am the true king of this era. Izuku, wounded but not defeated, began to get up. In his mind, the bearers of One for All were cheering him on. Yoichi. You can't face them alone, but remember, you're not really alone. Use everything we've built. With a burst of energy, Izuku activated his energy skin again, but this time, he amplified its power by combining all of the One for All's gifts. He used hover to move with air speed. The black whips took the form of swords and shields, blocking and counter-attacking. The 45% raw strength increased with surgical precision, allowing him to strike key points on Shigaraki's body. Izuku. I won't let you win. The fight was fierce. Izuku managed to partially separate Shigaraki from All for One's influence, concentrating all his attacks on weakening them separately. At a crucial moment, Kana fired a special bullet that hit All for One's control core, forcing him to withdraw from Shigaraki's body. All for One. No. Esto no. It can end like this. Izuku took advantage of the opening, concentrating all of One for All's power into one final blow. Izuku. This is over. Now, one blow will decide everything. Daigoro. It's now or never. Yoichi. So be it. Second, third. You're done. All for One. With a roar, he unleashed a Gearshift plus FA Jin enhanced United States of Smash, striking Shigaraki and All for One simultaneously. The energy blast was so intense that it lit up the entire battlefield. In the nuclei of the AFA and AFO, Nana. Izuku. Look at Shigaraki's core. It was broken and his abdomen had a large hole where he could see. I can see Tenko. He's still there. Izuku. I think this is the last chance I have to save him. Izuku began to run towards where Shigaraki was, but as he did so, the path behind him began to be destroyed. He also began to notice how his body was rejuvenating until he was 4 years old, he tried to take out Tenko with his hands. Izuku. Tenko. Dame la mano. Tenko, Shigaraki child, why? Why now? Why are you doing this? Izuku. Your look. It was like someone asking for help, wasn't it? Thin. Cries in silence, SC. Tenko was hesitant, but little by little he brought his hand closer to Izuku's and took it. The green-haired man, with all the strength he had, began to pull Tenko out of Shigaraki's body, but some hands emerged from behind his back and tried to put Tenko back in with the intention of absorbing him, and this was also happening to Izuku. But the lights of the other bearers were placed before him, but the one that stood out the most was a rose. Izuku. With eyes closed and holding on to Tenko tighter to the max, his eyes suddenly opened and glowed green very brightly, illuminating the cores. More hands had appeared to prevent this. I hoped the lights of the carriers would prevent the hands from getting closer. Until finally, Izuku was able to get Tenko out of there. In the real world, the explosion that had happened just then was replaced by an emerald green light that eventually faded away. Everything had calmed down. Shigaraki and All for One lay motionless. Shigaraki, free from All for One's influence, could barely move, while All for One's true body began to disintegrate due to the damage received. Fire. He smiles bitterly. Looks like it really is the end for me, isn't it, brother? Disintegrates. Izuku, exhausted, fell to his knees, as Kana ran over to support him. Price. Whispering, you did it, Izuku, you did it. Izuku. No. We did it together. Kana. Yes, together. You still owe me that date. Smile. Izuku. I'm looking forward to that date. He smiles and approaches Kana to give her a soft kiss on the lips. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and now we will see you in the next video.